Alright, here we go. Turn that on, save. Don't know why it's not on by default, but what can you do, right? Okay. Let's see here. There we go. Let's tell the Discord. Let's close out of that. Let's close out of that. Ah, beans. What a close out. Alright. Mute that tab. So we don't get pinged into oblivion. So, what the dude? Okay. What's up, Gabe? How you doing today? How's your day? How's your night? How's your all of the things? How you doing? How are you? How are you? It's good to see you. Okay. Yeah, there we go. All right. No echo. Discord's notified. Hey, Poindexter's was good. What's up, Gecko? Not a Poindexter. That's mean. That's very mean. No, but good. Glad to hear it. Welcome in. Good to see you tonight. Welcome back, I guess. Back to sanity. Back to sanity. Yeah. Right back to sanity, dude. Yeah, I like running those from time to time. I'm normally when I run them on TikTok, I'll change my bio to the live as satire in case they don't get it. But honestly, it's not as fun that way. You feel me? It feels fun to just be a gaslighting Gary for a bit and just you know, give Christians false expectations and make them feel like they got a friend or something. Trying to take a shit, but nothing's coming out. Oh man, well, I didn't need to know that, but I don't know. Try like some. I don't know. I can't help you on that one. Maybe like some hot water or something. Notified this time. Yeah, there was so much to do. When you add a second software, it's a lot worse. Like it's just too many things to do. Like I had to remember to put a little pre-stream whatever the fuck on TikTok so I can, make sure to not get demonetized or have my gifting suspended on the stream or whatever. Didn't or get visibility restricted for something for unoriginal content or whatever. Had to have a little message up saying, it's original. I'm the original guy streaming this. So I had to do that, take it down, start on TikTok. Remember to change the description on YouTube. And start Tickfinity. Yeah, it's just a bunch of stuff, but whatever. Well, yeah, good to see you, Rip. Good. Have you tried lube? Have you tried lube? Pour the water up my ass. That might help. That might help. Do you think progress requires riots to demand change? Riots. Ultimately, I think yeah. I think in a world where the people up top aren't empathetic, and where this so they can't just be reasoned with, then yeah, you kind of got to make them scared a little bit, right? So maybe tearing it down, starting over again. It's whatever. Aurora Homecoming starts in an hour and a half. I'm so excited. What is that? Also, what's up, Voodoo Child? But what is that? Is that like a show or something? I couldn't tell you what that is. So like I should start looking up the things that people tell me about instead of just doing nothing with it. All right, let's see what we got here. Sam Hill is this? Excited? What is it? Excited to see Aurora return for a special performance. What is this? Is it like a concert of some sort? I think it might be a concert. I don't know. I'll take it as that. Unfortunately, I agree. It's what history shows. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta make them scared. Reason doesn't work with unreasonable people. I won't pin it, but yeah, just make sure to send that throughout the stream. I'm gonna find a way to add that to my link tree. I won't remember to do it on the stream though. At what stage of your atheism are early angsty rejection, moderated sardonic mockery, militant rationalism, indifference? I'd say I got past the point of just like, just complete acceptance until I'd say I'm still at that point where I completely accept the idea that God's not real, but you know, I'm still think that I'm able to look around now and see what it's doing to the world around me, and that's what makes me want to talk about it. Aurora is a music artist. I'm a music artist. Aurora is a music artist. The homecoming is a celebration of her birthday and the favorite game. Okay, well, hell yeah, hell yeah. But no, but yeah, moderated sardonic mockery. Not sometimes, right? Militant rationalism. I don't know. See, you know what? Never mind. I'm not gonna say what I want to say. Oh yeah, but welcome in. Good to see y'all. I don't know. Like the stream. Do all the stuff. Follow the things. Do the things. I don't know. Share the things. Don't share the things. Actually, I feel like that's really annoying when I get like when I get people like sharing streams and shit with me. I get kind of annoyed by it a little bit. Cause like I'm not always around to just like watch streams of people in the space. And I'd feel the same about my stream too. I don't want my stream just like shared as far as the eye can see with people that don't want to watch me right now, I don't get it. So yeah, maybe not share it, but like it and all that good stuff. I don't know. Just do the things to help out in the algorithm, I suppose. The things that make sure I stay unshadow banned. If anything else. My bad. No, you're good. You're chilling. You didn't you don't you're not doing anything. It's nothing to apologize for. All the players who get to play Happy Birthday on the piano for a birthday is going to be so much fun. I might be a little bit. I might not be high enough to know what like the to get the appeal, but I'm glad you found what works for you. Return of the Shadow Band, 114 in 6 minutes. So no, I think we're chilling. Be prepared to take the mark. What mark? The mark of the beast. Be prepared. No, is that what you think? Are you like one of those like rapture and brimstone and fire people, Douglas? But all caps for bingo. I might pull that up. What made you an atheist? What made me an atheist was looking at the evidence for God existing and seeing that none of it worked. It was all suckish. It was all bad. It was, didn't pass scrutiny. And as much as I wanted to be like dishonest about the contentions to all the arguments I was hearing, there were good contentions, so that's why I left. How long have you stopped believing? I haven't believed in 10 years. It's deconstructed when I was 19, and I'm 29 years old now. It says 7 for you? No, it says 115 for me. It's we're chilling. 7 minutes, but 115 watching. Former Luciferian Christ is King. Well, that is quite the jump. If you found what works for you, that's cool for you. Just doesn't work for me, right? Oh, okay, got you. Yeah, we're showing the love of Christ. Got you. Oh, okay, never mind. At that point. All right, let's see what we got here. Generate card. I love how something stupid as the free space. Yeah, that's about that works. Let's see what we got here. Okay, all caps. Where's the all caps? There you are. That's on my card. Okay, boom. Why would an all-knowing, all-loving God create a universe knowing most people would end up in hell? Yeah, exactly. It makes no sense. There's a lot of things that don't make sense to me in there. Like one of the main issues that made me deconstruct with like was how human God seemed in his intentions. I don't know. There's just something iffy about it. I find it hard to believe that an all-powerful creator of everything cares this much about humans and like the little tiny shit that they do. Like, why would it care if people are gay or whatever? Why would it care that people don't worship him or worship other gods? Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Forgot to mention you had a crispy watermelon an hour ago. Childhood core memory bites. Hell yeah, I had a pizza today. More calories than I've had in like the past week. I have not been eating well this past week, but yeah, we're glad to hear it. I haven't had watermelon in. I get it like maybe once every couple of years, but I haven't had one in a while. You're going on 20 plus years. Hopefully, I get there right with you. Welcome in, D Gomez. Not surprised seeing this there is no evidence for anything supernatural. Yeah, it's and I guess like technically once there's evidence for it, then it would become natural at that point, right? As long as you're not hurting anyone, you seem like a chill dude. Oh, thanks, man. I try my best to stay out the way, right? I asked why did you be an atheist? There must be a breaking point right from Christianity. It wasn't like one particular thing that did it. Like there was a last moment. I do remember the last moment that I before I knew I was an atheist, right? That was when I was looking at the evidence on just one random day after like a year and a half of doing so, and realizing that I was holding God to an inconsistent evidentiary standard as everything else. And so that's the moment. That's the moment I knew I was an atheist. But getting from starting to have doubts to not believing in God at all, it took like a year and a half. It wasn't sudden at all. Good man, Christianity is dogma. Indeed, it is. Indeed, it is. It's I dare I say brain rot, right? Who invented religion, bro? A lot of different people invented different religions. Do you see the usefulness of religion just from a utilitarian perspective, like cohesion in early civilizations, a modulator for existential anxieties, early moral compass? In historically speaking, absolutely, but that wouldn't necessarily make it true, which is what I personally care about. But speaking outside of myself for a second, if we're able to think complexly about these things and we don't necessarily need religion, then we should probably do away with it, right? When loser lost his faith, come watch him now. Oh, there's the Christian love for you, right? What made you change your mind? Lack of evidence is why I changed my mind. Yeah, it's never mind. Never mind. What do you think of the reference to day dawning or the key David during your study? The key of David. Um, I haven't really looked into the key of David. The day dawning, I haven't even heard of that. But the key of David, I didn't really look into it. You never sleep, do you? I slept before. I woke up not long before my earlier stream. Also, what's up, High Inquisitor? How's your day going? Uh, LOL, former Christian. No such thing, mate. You aren't a Christian if you did not experience the love of Christ. I think that's on the bingo card, right? Oh wait, why are you atheist is there? Where is you were never there you are. Yeah, that's on the bingo card. All right, let's see what we got here. Imagine a world with no religion. What do you mean you holding God to that standard? So for me, I acknowledge that things exist if they answer back or if they can be seen, experienced in some way, like heard, smelled, felt, maybe. Um, or at the very least, if it's something like a concept or something that you can't see but there's good evidence for, then if there's logical evidence for it, God didn't have any logical evidence. Obviously, he didn't answer back, and he was invisible and intangible and wasn't able to be felt either. So otherwise, I'd call such a thing non-existent. So I'm just going to do the same thing with God too. Uh, no, I see it on my card. I do see you were never Christian on it. I think it like mixes it up and gives you different prompts on your cards. The rhyme is the best part, but I'm talking about the red stuff. Oh yeah. See here. I don't know what you're spamming. Anyone that threatens me with hell will get drop kicked in the aura. I'm well past the point of even caring about hell threats. Like, you might as well be telling me you just have a revenge fantasy at that point. When you die, you know everything. I don't think you'll know anything after you die, personally. Do you at times feel like God does exist? I mean, when problems happen, we tend to believe that there's one superpower that would come to our rescue. Do you feel that at times during those tough times? I do not. No, when times get really, really, really tough, I come to try to get help from the people around me if I have anyone available. But you know, like a supernatural God, I'm just past the point of thinking that such a thing is real. Weak people have no religion. Thank you for your opinion. I'm not a believer, but I think religion is the bios to a secular humanist society's OS. Keeps early societies calm and centered for long enough so that science emerges. Early society, sure, but I think we're past the point of needing it. There's just too much out there. Yeah, you can definitely go from being someone who follows and gets preached at to finding your own path and turn into the truth of facts versus fiction. Hell yeah, Rain. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. A transcendental idea of reason, can't even see it. Notice how y'all take like one thing that I say and then just pick it out and like, okay, I'll address this thing and not address all of the other horrific issues that I said. Ave, lack of evidence, of course. Also, what's up, Grande? We got preaching in the chat. Oh yeah, wait just a sin. Yeah, where's the preaching on this bingo card? There we go. What do you think of Sikhism? I know a few Sikhs and they're awesome people. I just don't believe that what they believe in is true though. All right, you can go. You can go for the rest of the stream. Skadoosh! You're my first skadoosh of the evening. Have a good rest of your night, SM. But you will not be here, and that will be it. Weak people have no religion. Says the person would rather put their faith in fairy tales than learn to cope with their own mortality. Yeah, just need revenge fantasies for people that don't believe in the same way I do. But it also makes the case against objective morality being a good argument for God if the thing that people are claiming to get their morality, like their morality from, entitles them to be giant pieces of shit, right? Where does consciousness come from for the bingo? Somebody asked that. Oh, where does intelligence come from? Oh, an emergent property of a working brain, if you ask me. You guys fell for the 0 out of 10 rage bait. You are under the age of 18. I'm gonna get you on out of here. Yeah, if you think this is rage bait, there's no way you're over the age of 18. So I'm gonna go get you on out. Skadoosh. Skadoosh. Take care. Have a good one. Take care. If you can remember what it was like living before you were born, you'll know what it's like when you're no longer living. Exactly, I agree. What about the miracles and testimonies experienced that can't be explained? People have heard God answer audible. People in countries where Bible are not legal to own have seen Jesus in their rooms. I have zero reason to think that to be the case. I have no reason to think that they're not lying about it. And if we're talking about like NDEs or testimonies or things, I mean, people have these sorts of testimonies to all different religious ends. They claim to see the embodiment of Muhammad or Allah in Islam. They claim to see the Hindu gods in Hinduism. So the gamut of testimonies and claims that people make of miracles are very, very varied. Super varied, extremely varied. So for me to assume that they're telling the truth in the first place, and B, the belief that everybody's religious experience is true, and that there's like some supernatural force that wants to lead people to multiple mutually exclusive contradictory ends is that takes a lot more steps than me to just say all of it's fake in some way. You never talk to Jesus, you never believe, so you're never Christian, so your statement is a contradiction. Yeah, by all means, Xavier, tell me, the person who is not you, what I was. Yeah, for sure. Let's see how that goes for you. Did you leave Christianity due to emotional reasons or the illogicalism of it? For the logical reasons, right? If there was good evidence for it, I would have stayed, but no good evidence, so I left. Don't desire to live my life worshiping untrue things or dedicating myself to things that are false, so, you know. No good evidence to stand on for it, so it could potentially be false. Therefore, I gotta throw it away, right? Did you leave Christian? Oh, I already read that. First skadoosh at evening. Also, what's up, Juan? Good to see you. Happy Pride, friend. Hope you're having a good day. It was a good one. How about yourself? See here, you weren't. Whatever you gotta tell yourself, man. But asking me to debate your conclusion about my life, it's just not gonna happen, Xavier. I'm so sorry. Do we got spams? Oh yeah, Caden was spamming. I'm so far back in the comments, it's not even funny. Hadiths are like stinking gutter. Oh jeez. The fool has said in his heart there's no God. Bible verse, that's one, and there's gotta be another one, right? No, nothing so far. Do I believe in bacon? I do believe in bacon. Do you think there's any purpose to life? I don't think there's an objective purpose. No, I think it's up to you to figure it out for yourself, right? How many times are you going to say first in each of the evening when you clearly kick them out? What are you even saying? How many times are you going to say first in each of the evening? What does that even mean? What does that even mean? It's Christians just preaching like every single night. Like night in, night out, but that's all right by me. Was it hard to admit that you had changed your thoughts on it? Personally, I'm not religious. It was pretty hard for me. Yeah, it sucked. It was like a year and a half of trying to dissect the evidence that was presented to me, and another, I'd say like year of like guilt and anger and distrust of like, because you got to think about it. If people that are complete and total trustworthy sources are still capable of spreading a lie to you, then it's kind of hard to trust anybody at that point. Do you think the existence of humanity is a net good or evil? I don't know. Like, I think it's about as definitionally neutral as possible, right? Um, like there's definitely good that came from humans existing, definitely awful things that came from humans existence. Satan go you, brother. I'm guessing you mean Satan got you. No, Satan's not real either. Looking into Islam, no thank you. I'll stop you right there. No thanks. Former atheist Lee Strobel wrote the bestseller The Case for Christ. Strobel was an investigative reporter for the Chicago Tribune. I've read, not read, I saw the movie Case for Christ. All it was basically just his own personal dissection of the evidence that led to him coming to Christ. But no, he does not give any sort of objective evidence for God being real. I'd imagine if he were more honest, he could tell you as such. I don't know if he is or not. So, no, no good. Do I believe in evolution? I acknowledge evolution. Uh, let's see what we got here. God is real. Understand the human church letting you down. Reconsider. We should really put that on a bingo card too. Apologizing for a non-existent villain. Just instead of listening to the reasons that I left, just assume that it was people that let me down or people were mean to me, and that's why I left, and then apologize for it. Because we know clear as day that we can't actually care about me as the person that you're trying to convert instead of just copy pasting whatever bullshit you can make up. Do you believe in any sort of conscious existence after death? I don't personally. No, I think that you cease to exist after you die. It's like just imagine what before you were born felt like. It's gonna be like that all over again. How do you dictate what's good versus evil? Depends on the situation, I guess, right? Emmanuel, you can go. You can go. We don't spam in here, dude. Skadoosh. Skadoosh. We don't spam in here, so sorry. God loves gays. I don't think God exists, but I would hope he would if he did. Do you believe in any? I already read that. Go back to God. He would heal any problem or disease you and your family has. If that were true, then there wouldn't be hospitals. Right. If every Christian that believed in God can just be healed from God, healed by God because they believe and have faith in Him, then they wouldn't be dying left and right of different diseases. So that's an outright lie. Good to see you, Rick. How's your day going? You weren't a Christian in the first place. Whatever you got to tell yourself, man. Dude is definitely rage baiting. If you think this is rage bait, you're under the age of 18, so I'm going to go ahead and get you on out of here. Only emotionally unintelligent people think that a discussion about religion is rage bait, which leads me to believe that you haven't yet learned, enough about the world around you to be emotionally intelligent. So you got to be under 18. Skadoosh. Take care. Have a good one. Why should you be an atheist? It's not about what you should or shouldn't be. For me, I looked into the evidence of God existing and found 0% of it convincing or reliable. So that's why I left. It was the Bible itself made awful claims, dumb claims, stupid claims. The evidence that people presented was bad, illogical, or fallacious, or an outright lie in some cases. So, that's why I left. So. But I'm not going to dictate to you what you should or shouldn't be one way or the other. Do you believe a higher intelligence created the universe, or how do you think it all came to be? I think the universe itself has always existed. Like the stuff that makes up the universe, the space that it takes up, and the time that it, the time that makes it up, and like the whatever condensed into matter at the state that the universe is in when it started to expand. I think that's always existed in some form. Do you have any screenshots of the ridiculous things Christians have said so far? I have a whole channel on Discord called The Zoo where I screenshot some more unsavory things that they say and put them up there. Are you a Gnostic atheist or an agnostic atheist? I'm agnostic. I don't know if there is a God, but I can say with certainty that the Christian God isn't real because if there are claims made about it that give way to logical contradiction, then logical contradictions can't be real. What's your field of expertise? I'll be completely honest. I dropped out of college. Let's see. Well, now you're definitely going to hell for committing the unforgivable sin. Is that on a bingo card? See you in hell. Is that close? Yeah, that's close enough. Why not? Yeah, that's close enough. Close enough. What do you do for work? I'm a customer service representative for a popular accounting software. If you look up accounting softwares right now, it'll probably be the first one that pops up. If you call call their customer service, there's like a 1 in a couple hundred chance of you getting me on the phone. Why'd you lose your faith? Lack of evidence is why I lost my faith. What's the most unbelievable things the Bible claimed? That, oh man, I don't know if, probably the ark. Probably the ark, yeah. Everything about the ark story is just like intuitively laughable, but evidentially absurd. Yeah, that's a rough one. A really, really rough one. How old is LeBon Don John Sigma? What the fuck am I listening to? TurboTax. It's not TurboTax. They do like that's a tax software, but you're like right there. Think about same company, but the product that starts with a Q, and that's what I work for, or that's who I do customer service for. Let's got. I love the bingo card joke though. There's actually a bingo card. I can show it to you really quickly. One second. Give me a minute. Let's put this over here. Let's put this over here and display capture. Skadoosh. There. Oh shoot. Transform. Fit to screen. There we go. Yeah, I have it. Rip Van Winkle made a bingo card, and so I'm just sitting here filling it out as I go. Yeah. There we go. Ugh. Intuit QuickBooks. There you go. Yeah, you got it. You work for Quora? I don't work for Quora. How you doing today, Nathaniel? Good to see you. Can you elaborate on your problems with the ark? I sure can. So, a 900-year-old man making an ark that can fit 2 of every single animal species on the planet, even though we can confirm that there are some animals that are older than 4,000 years than, which is where the ark story is claimed to have happened, is 4,000 years ago. Oh, man. There are species that are indigenous to the Americas and some islands in Antarctica and Australia that wouldn't have been able to make it to the Eurasian landmass in order to get on the ark, much less get back to their native homelands after the fact. There's the heat problem. It would have scorched the earth if it's under that much pressure. Even if it's water, that's going to cause so much pressure that it generates heat, and it's going to be so much heat that plants would not have been able to what's the word I'm looking for? Regrow after the ark, and it also would have killed all the plants. All of the saltwater species would have died, or freshwater species. I don't know if you think the water that came down was salty or fresh, but either or, there have been saltwater species and freshwater species that have been around for a lot longer than 4,000 years, so that couldn't have happened. It required more water than the earth has on it. Like, we'd have to multiply the amount of water we have by like 4 before we get enough water to, for the ark story to be true. And then also, where'd that water go? What else? The carnivores would have eaten all the other animals. There wouldn't even have been enough space for all the animals, period. Much less enough food to feed them all. There wouldn't have been enough space for it. And also, we know that the animals could not have inbred to get to their current population numbers today, over the course of only 4,000 years. Also, only 8 humans were left, and 8 humans couldn't even inbred to get to 8 billion people 4,000 years later. So no, the ark story did not happen. Your expectation from the creator not met could also be the reason for you to leave Christianity. Or are you saying that you don't believe in Christianity solely based on your research? Solely based on my research. I couldn't care less about God not answering prayers. I couldn't care less about his followers being mean people. For, at least partially. I care all about whether or not it's true. It makes perfect sense to me that, like, God could be real, but he just has followers that are pieces of shit. And it also could be true that God exists, but also he doesn't answer prayers for some reason. But both of those require me to believe that God's real in the first place. That's the part I'm having the issue with. Can you please answer me? It took long to type this out. It's built on reason, not blind faith. The Quran has no contradictions. Oh, no, I can name you some contradictions in the Quran literally right now. Give me a second. Let's pull up my notes really quickly. My favorite one to go with, just because like there's so many different claims, is what substance humans were made from. In 16:4 and 75:37, it says a drop of thick fluid. In 37:11, it says sticky clay. It says earth in 1161, which is kind of backed up in 359 when it says dust. It says burnt clay in 1526, which wouldn't be sticky. It also says water in 2130, and it says a blood clot in 96:1 and 2. And then all of those contradict the idea that we were created from nothing, as it says in Surah 19, verse 67. So That's just one of them. So, no, no, thank you. Are you human? I am a human, I think. I hope, right? Also, next Christian from Indonesia. Oh, welcome in. I stopped believing in God when I learned how old the earth is and how religions only started to exist in the rise of Homo sapiens. Yeah, kind of funny how that works, right? Welcome in. It's good to see you. Omnipotent being doesn't speak all languages is crazy. It's kind of funny how that works out, right? I already answered you, Yippee. I don't know what to tell you. What do you think? People made a. I'm guessing. Why do you think people made a religious basis? I'd say like the oldest religions were made because people wanted to have an answer for the unanswerable questions that they didn't know at the time, like where did everything come from, or what happens to that person now that they're dead, and so they just anthropomorphized the hypothetical answer. That answer we call God. Did you experience the love of God or experience any miracles? Miracles, no. There's nothing like miraculous that's happened in my life. Love of God, I don't think so, right? Are you allowed to have tattoos? Who's gonna stop me, right? I got a couple. Have you ever encountered the Holy Spirit? I'm gonna get you on out of here for a second. We don't spam it here, but I'm not even gonna answer your question. Give me a minute. You can take 5 minutes. Yeah, we don't do that. Skadoosh, 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 skadoosh. How do you keep your head up from religious people? A mixture of empathy and practicality. Empathy being that part of religion is telling you to be, is at least empowers you to be, if not mean, but to be disparaging to non-believers. So as somebody who used to think that way, I get where some of them are, like why some of them think that way. To be fair, a lot of them are just bad people just because they're bad people regardless. So, and they're just using their religion as like a way to exercise their lack of empathy, but in practicality, because there's nothing there's no mean words that anybody could say to me that are going to have more power than I give them. So in my real life, none of this shit matters. So I could, can't really care too much at that point, right? Eagle James, thank you for subscribing. Welcome, man. Good to see you. You against religion? Am I against religion? I appreciate the kind words, but wait 1 second.
The Persian belief is one of my favorites.
I'll get right to you in a second, Beast Man. Am I against religion? I'm against people using their religion in awful ways, but I fully support people's right to believe in what they're convinced of religiously. Also, Beast Man, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. The Persian belief is one of my favorites. I don't know too much about it. I'm not sure if I'm remembering like Afghanistan or Iran, but I know they used to be Zoroastrian before the Islamic Revolution in the 70s. I keep getting the two mixed up, but yeah, I could, if that's what you mean. I know very little about Zoroastrianism, and I know enough to know that it's probably not for me, but they're at least peaceful in their beliefs. But if you mean like some sort of other regional, like Iranian sort of belief system, I'm not at all familiar with it, but I do appreciate the $1.99 super chat regardless. And also Tala's Blue, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. Is our world real? I think it is. Can you explain the burnt mountain in Saudi? What burnt mountain in Saudi? Study Islam? No, thank you. How can you explain there's no scientists who can prove God and Jesus aren't real? The inability to disprove something that's outside of everything, it doesn't constitute me having any sort of like giving it any sort of leeway, right? If I'm fully justified in saying that there's no unicorn that's 15 feet outside of the atmosphere right now, then because there's no evidence for it. Just because I can't immediately disprove it doesn't mean just accept it or give credence to the idea, even though it's absurd, until we can disprove it. You don't accept that standard for anything else, I don't think, and so I'm not going to either. Jeremy Mills, thank you for subscribing as well. I appreciate it. See here, if you had to believe in one religion, what would it be? Right now I'm vibing most with Hinduism, but I just don't believe it to be true, so I probably couldn't be a Hindu, but at least poetically speaking, I think their story is kind of cool. There's no Allah either. I agree. Oh, we got an Allah in the chat. Wait, I'm seeing a lot of things in the chat that I probably could have put on the bingo card. French, see here, consciousness. See what we got here. Allah. Am I almost at bingo? I'm not even close. I'm just not paying too much attention though. Why'd you switch religions? I just don't believe in God anymore because I don't see any evidence that God is real. Will you accept it if I say this phone was just made by incident? No one made it. That's a false equivalence analogy. False equivalence fallacy, I should say. So we know that phones are created due to the fact that we can verify that they are an invention by humans and also by otherwise observing a nature where phones don't happen naturally. We can't say the same about the universe on either point, so they can't be logically analogized. You already got a bingo? Shit. I mean, shit. Damn. Damn. I'll get it.
How do you explain Cinemarian apparitions?
Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. How to explain the Marian apparitions? Are those like the ones that it's people claim they saw Mary somewhere or something? I don't know. If that's it, I haven't looked into it too much, but intuitively speaking, I'm inclined to believe that it's probably not something that can be verifiable. So, on face, I'm kind of iffy about it, but to be completely honest, I don't know enough about the claims or the story enough, or the quote unquote miracles in order to give an honest opinion about it. But I do appreciate the $1.99 super chat there, DJ Fat Lip. Nice name. How do you explain the gays? I mean, plenty of animals have homosexuality and they're homosexuals in it, right? The amount of people flaming him for expressing his opinions is insane. Who are you to tell him what he can and can't believe? It's fine. I'll be all right. I can promise you. Shroud of Turin. Ooh, that's on the bingo card. Give me a second. Shroud of Turin. I wish we could stop talking about the Shroud of Turin. But the Shroud of Turin's been proven a forgery so many times over, theologically, scientifically, and also historically. It's been proven to be a forgery. How can something come from nothing? That's on the bingo card too. I never said that something came from nothing. Never said such a thing. So maybe address the things I actually say rather than something that you just made up about me saying, right? Something from nothing. Where is it? 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 Is it? There we go. Okay. Ooh, I'm close to bingo. I just need one good answer. I mean, one good question here. BL Productions, thank you for the 99-cent super chat. I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you so much. But anyway, what's my source? For the Shroud of Turin, Pope Clement VII at the time decried it as a forgery. There were just studies that came out recently showing that there had to be a perfectly supine body wouldn't have been able to make the image that's on the Shroud of Turin. The carbon dating, obviously, that's a big one. There's the red ochre that was found in a gelatin medium that was on the in the pigment, which isn't blood, it's a pigment. There's the depiction of Jesus on it that would have that's more so in line with like the Eurocentric depiction from like the 7th century or somewhere in there. And also there's the fact that in John chapter 20, verse 6 and 7, it says that his head was wrapped separately from the rest of his body. And so if the shroud he has his whole body on it, it has to be fake. The Quran answer refers to different stages of life. Oh, so nothing. We were nothing and then something? Is that what you're saying? The Shroud of Turin hasn't been disproven. Stop lying, bro. Okay, so it sounds like you're just putting your fingers in your ear and saying nothing at that point. At that point, I could just say it's a dumb thing to do. Seb Kirstein, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. Do I disapprove of the Catholic and Orthodox religion? I just don't think it's real, right?
I was religious for 5 years. Then I turned 5.
That's fucked, dude. Oh man, you got lucky. I didn't get lucky. Dylan Drew, thank you for the €2. No, not €2. £2 super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you. No, I was Christian for 19 years, and then I turned 19. Unfortunately, well, yeah. Welcome, man. When are you planning to go to the Philippines? My Pookie Cookie Coco Mama Berry Boo Bear. What in Sam hell am I reading right now? Whenever I get the money for it, whenever I can sustain myself in there without having to, when I get a decent enough savings, basically. So we're talking if things go to plans, like years from now, maybe in like I don't know, however many years it takes, right? If I get at the very least like 100K in the bank or something, 150, yeah, 250K, why not? That was funny. You turned 9 when you realize it. Nah, man, y'all got lucky. I wasted my teen years in that shit. What denomination were you a part of? I was in the Baptist denomination until I was 16, and then in the Apostolic Protestant denomination until I was 18, 19, somewhere in there. Saudi Arabia, there was a burnt mountaintop with altars on the mountain from the Exodus, and not too far from it, there's a rock with a perfect split in the middle, physical evidence. It sounds like you're describing the Ron Wyatt hoax or like some other form of an archaeological hoax from like the past 30 years or something. I need to see your source on that. Bruh, burn in hell. There's that Christian love for you. I wish Christians would understand that just because you say Jesus loves you doesn't mean you're helping people exactly. Any religion can do that. Yeah. If I had to take a guess, I'd say like so many people say God loves you or Jesus loves you or whatever because they want to feel like they're being helpful in some way, but the only way to know how to be helpful is by just copy pasting catchphrases. So, you know. It's on Google Maps. I'm gonna call extra cap on that because I play GeoGuessr, not professionally, but in the Champions Division, and Saudi Arabia isn't on Google Maps. The only countries in the region that are on Google Maps are Qatar, UAE, Oman. That's North Africa. Georgia, if that counts, that's kind of West Asia. Turkey, and I think that's it. Before we go into like North Africa, South Asia, like the neighboring regions. Oh, Israel and Palestine and Lebanon too. There's one I'm missing. Oh, Jordan too. Yeah, so no, Saudi Arabia is on the list of countries that's not on Google Maps. So you are outright lying to me. You don't have to lie to me. It's fine. What is the evidence for atheism? There's no such thing as evidence for atheism. It's a lack of belief in a God. That's literally all it is. It's like asking for the evidence for a lack of food on your plate. You know? Are you gay? Who says I'm gay? You are gay. Based in GeoGuessr. Yeah, I love GeoGuessr. I got to play some more on stream eventually. Syria is not on Google Maps. What denomination were you part of? I already answered this, but I was Baptist and then Apostolic. Are you dripping or drowning right now? You drowned last time I asked. I'm definitely still drowning. I don't got that shit on. I got sweats, boxer briefs, and a plain black shirt on. When I'm around the house, I'm not wearing anything except a plain black shirt. I'm so sorry. Might have pants on, might not have pants on. If there's anything morally wrong, if so, who sets these standards? You do, as an individual. And so, hope this helps with you. Are you doing this because you are gay? Who says I'm gay? Have you ever encountered the Holy Spirit? I don't think anybody's encountered the Holy Spirit, but to answer you more directly, I encountered what I thought was the Holy Spirit, but looking back, I've gotten that same feeling at concerts before, when I'm with people before, so I'm inclined to believe it's just euphoria. Mythic Zoom, you're gonna stop spamming me, dude. I'm sorry, we're not doing that. 10 minutes. I'll see you in 10 minutes. But skadoosh. Morals come from. That's on there. Did anybody ask? I'm not gonna say what the question is, but when somebody asks this question, I have bingo. There's like 2 questions I'm looking for. I would imagine they got asked so far, but for me to get bingo. What does an atheist become after the expulsion of religion from the earth? Still an atheist, right? How did you tell your parents? I don't know. I just picked a random day. It was just like, just mom was hanging out. So I was like, hey, so this thing we believe in. I don't believe this anymore. I told her why. That's all that came from. Are you going to answer any of my questions? There are 200 people in here. I'm so sorry for not answering your question in particular, but just in the way that the solar system does not revolve around the earth, the stream does not revolve around you. I'm so sorry, but trying my best here. Do you think believers are dumb, or do you just believe your own thing? I think that believers are convinced of something false. I wouldn't say dumb necessarily. I think that's a little bit reductive. But all right, Kaden, I'm gonna get you on out of here. I seen you've been spamming for like 5 minutes. You can take 10 minutes off. You can take take 10 minutes. Have a good rest of your 10 minutes. Skadoosh. Just skadoosh. There we go. Never said it evolved around you. I'm literally the only one that's writing on entire paragraphs that will stand out. No, you're not. No, you're not. I can promise you, you're not. I'm getting all sorts of words in my face right now, so I'm trying my best here. So, morals come from religion, but don't get your panties in a twist. It definitely came from the history of Christians who believed as far back as millennia. If that were true, then people wouldn't have been moral before the emergence of Christianity from Judaism and from prior religions. So, just speaking historically, that's false. But even if that were true, then we'd have to believe that owning slaves is permissible so long as you're the chosen people. We'd have to believe that rape is condonable so long as the person you're raping is unmarried and a virgin. And we'd have to believe that the commandment of infanticide is a good thing too. So if you don't believe in these things, then I can promise you don't get your morals from religion, and much less Christianity. Also, Pulvetta, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. It was a horrible time to live. I agree. I definitely agree. Yeah. Are you saying that God is beholden to human and societal standards? Because if so, that sounds like a human to me. That doesn't sound like a God. Dude, that take is so awful. Is it awful because you don't like the implications, or is it awful because it's wrong? You have nothing of value to say? Oh, that's completely fine, Idaho Life. Thank you for the Christian love. But if you think I have nothing valuable to say, that's completely fine. But there's no reason for you to be here at that point, because I will not and cannot and choose not to have somebody just come in trying to chirp at me and bitch at me and make me their punching bag. So I'm going to go and get you on out of here. You have a good rest of your night. Skadoosh. Skadoosh.
Is big accident on the bingo card?
Let me
face
check.
With peeking eye emoji, tired face emoji, tired face emoji.
Let's sound out the emojis. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Big accident. It is not. It is not. It is not. You only make assertions. Do you want me to biblically back up what all the things I just said? Because if so, I'll be happy to do it. You've heard 4 false points since you've been tuned in. Which false points are those? By all means, tell me. Let's hear him. Let's hear him. You've heard 4 false points. Okay, sure. You got the number there. That's cool. That means you should know what the false points are. Let's hear it. Matter of fact, I'm going to stop paying attention to everybody else for just a little bit, just so I can concentrate on you, Skylar. You've heard 4 false points. Let me hear those false points. Let's hear them. Do you think that something can come from nothing, or do you think that something's always been? I think something's always been, personally. I just think it's the universe. Yeah, let me keep my eye out for Skylar really quickly. You said 4 false points. Let's hear your points. Which points did I get wrong? Which point did you get wrong? How do you feel about Buddhism? I don't have an issue with Buddhists or Buddhism. I just think that I just don't believe their claim. So, maybe secularly I could be a Buddhist, but in like a literal we're actually going to reach nirvana sort of way Buddhism, I couldn't do it personally. Morality is constructed by simple desires and needs, though desires and needs can also straight back to religion and overall human needs. If that were the case, then nobody would have had any sort of empathy or anything whatsoever if they before the advent of religion. So I don't know what to tell you. And Skylar literally isn't said they heard 4 false points and didn't say even one and just scrolled away. Ain't that something? Yep. Called out, rinsed, packed away. I guess they won't be coming back. If God can always have been, then why can't the universe has always been? This makes more sense anyway. Exactly. It's just one less assumption, right? I'll take one assumption over 2 every single day of the week. Do you believe that any part of the, I'm guessing, Bible is true? I believe it references real places and real people, but the supernatural stuff, no, not even a little bit. Crickets from Skylar. Crickets. Yeah. Crickets also from that one dude that said that, it was a god-awful take, but didn't say in any way whatsoever why it was a bad take. So, ain't that something? Once Christians learn the difference between I don't like what you have to say and what you say is false, then we're going to move in a lot better of a direction. But right now they're just at the point of like, my fifi's hurt, therefore what you're saying is false. And I think that's kind of dumb. Why'd you turn away from Christ? I just stopped believing that Jesus was God or Christ or supernatural or divine because there was no evidence showing that to be the case, or that God existed to begin with. Begin with. I was watching your stream earlier. You said you were coming back to Christianity. What happened, man? I'm sad we lost you. That was a joke stream. It was a joke. That stream is. If you ever see me do a stream, and I mean, just as a little aside, if you ever see me do a stream where I claim that I'm a Christian and that I just recently converted and all that good stuff, I can promise you it's just a joke. It was just just having a little silly, having a little goofy, having a little laugh. Have you listened to Ray Comfort? I have, and he makes me want to blow my brains out. What evidence do you want? I don't know. If people believe in the thing, they should have the evidence, right? And I'll do you one better. If God's all knowing, he should know what evidence I want, right? What's your overall conclusion regarding the resurrection of Christ, the efficacy of the Gospels, the martyrdom of the apostles, etc.? There's not even good evidence that a lot of the apostles existed as even people, much less for their resurrection. So, it's kind of weird to me how we claim that there's, good record keeping of the crucifixion of Christ, and that execution, but not the crucifixion of all the apostles. Like, that seems a little odd to me. Josephus didn't write about it. Tacitus didn't write about it. Pliny the Younger didn't write about it. So I'm more inclined to believe that at absolute best, maybe Jesus existed as a person who got written into a story that was meant to quell the Jewish rebellion at the time, rather than just that he was actually the Son of God. Do you believe there was a creator? I don't personally believe in a creator. No. All right, you've got my attention, but it's the last of my attention you're gonna get. See you later, K. Lou. Have a good rest of your night. Skadoosh. Take care. No, I'm not your punching bag. I don't care if mommy and daddy are asleep, but I'm not your dude. Sorry. Take care. Have a good one. Yeah. I'm gonna stay in the stream literally just to chirp at you and bitch at you and be a bitch. No, sorry. Wrong guy. Wrong person. Previous post stated that atheists go to heaven as long as they lead a good life. Whenever bringing this up to Christians, they seem to get overly offended. Thoughts? Yeah, modern evangelical Christianity especially really likes hammering home this idea that it's like some exclusive club that you have to be a part of in order to get salvation. And so I would imagine the tribalism and dissatisfaction of universalism that comes with the Pope saying that, for sure. I think it's kind of sad, honestly, but what can you do? It took a creator for you to sit and talk on the internet. Is that fuck, technically, god damn it, technically that's not the question I'm looking for. Fuck, dude, I really, 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 really need bingo. I'm not gonna say what the question is just to keep it fair, but I really, really need bingo. Who are you? My name is, you can call me Hugh. And yeah, there you go. Is you balling or just play any other sports? I don't ball. No, I don't do any of the sports. I lost my frisbee partner recently, so that's about. I wouldn't even say that's a sport. It's just like a fun little hobby. Guess what? No one cares. The person typing in chat who cared enough to type in chat to say that no one cares, you gave yourself away. If you want to antagonize me, there's there's far less dumb ways to do it than giving your intentions away on the spot like that. Because if I didn't care about something, especially on a YouTube Shorts live stream feed, I can just scroll away. Right? I just scroll away. I would just get the fuck on. If I didn't actually care, I scroll through TikTok live sometimes. There's a lot of streams I don't care about. You know what I do? I just scroll away. I just keep scrolling. So if you didn't actually care, you wouldn't be typing that you don't care. So I don't believe you. How is it believing in nothing is very hard to? It's peaceful. It's peaceful. It's pretty peaceful, I'd say. Yeah, it's tough when I was first deconstructing for sure, but I've gotten to a good place now, at least religiously. So I'm grateful for that. How is it? Oh, I already read that. Do you think Jesus was a liar, lunatic, God, or other? Other? I think that the claims of him even being the son of God, him being the one making these claims, was added by people who weren't him. I don't think he was the person that inspired the Gospels at all. So no, I don't think he was a lunatic, and then I don't think he was, somebody who actually claimed this and it was crazy to say such a thing. I don't think he was a liar and somebody that's just like claimed this to be the case when he knew it was false. And I don't think he was the Lord because I don't obviously think that God exists, right? So, um, yeah, other. I'll take other. I wish instead of Jesus saying Jesus loves you, they would help people by donating to charity. Yeah, just empty words and empty catchphrases in chat just aren't gonna do shit. But yeah, that's about as much as you can guess. Did you have a midlife crisis when you were deconstructing? I sure as fuck hope I didn't have a midlife crisis because if so, that means I got like 9 more years left to live. But I've had an existential crisis for sure. Yeah, because I had to tear down everything I knew about reality. Just okay, nothing's created by some invisible being. I don't have to do this, that, and the third. Nobody cares if I do this, that, and the third except for me ultimately. And I had to rethink the way I thought about people, rethink the way I thought about myself, rethink the way I thought about literally everything. So that sucked for sure, but I think I got to a good place for sure. Did somebody make you believe that there was no such thing as Christ? I wouldn't say it was a person. It was just funny enough the Bible that started me deconstructing. That counts as why do you care about God? I'm gonna say no to that, but also that's not the question I'm looking for. Caden. Caden. Isn't any part of you scared that you could be wrong and go to hell? No, not even a little bit. Because for me, it makes no logical sense to me that a God that creates all things and that wants a relationship with people wouldn't just show himself, especially if he wanted to arbitrarily decide that people not believing he existed would end up with people suffering, assuming that he's benevolent, right? So I completely deconstructed the logical utility of hell. So if it makes no logical sense, then it's something I'm going to toss away, right? Best weather, love gloomy weather with kind of heart, right? The best weather for me is imagine it's like 70 degrees outside. There's a light breeze. The sky's kind of cloudy. You think it's gonna rain, but it doesn't actually. It never rains. It's like imagine like mid spring weather around 7 or 8 p.m. where it's like blue outside. Yeah, that's perfect. That's prime for me. Love it. I would kill for that weather to be for just all. That's the only weather of all time. How can a God who loves us so much let war, poverty, and hunger and hate exist? Exactly. It's a fantastic question. I don't. The problem with evil is such an unavoidably, intuitively inescapable issue when it comes to a benevolent God that I don't see how anybody gets past it. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Oh wait, no, that's not even the one I need. Shit. Hell isn't a literal place. It's a side effect of being apart from God. Yeah, I hear people try to justify hell in a lot of different ways, but it always circles back to it being what I said it was to begin with, right? Like for me, I say, oh, it's a realm of eternal punishment or whatever, and they'll say, oh no, you're just being separated from God, and your soul can't die, so it's eternal, and also, the realm is one away from God. So away from God is all bad things. So it's punishment. So it's just like we circle all the way back around. It's like I don't understand why people just have to try to spread this belief that I do know why people do it, but why they try to spread this belief that hell is anything except what they know it to be. I'd imagine the reason that you and other Christians try to do it is because you want to uphold this idea of God being perfect and just. And so you know that a realm of eternal torment is going to be unjust. So anything to make it your fault as the person is going to be what Christians are going to prefer. Console or PC? I prefer PC personally. Even an atheist says this on that Tom Holland debate about Christianity and philosophy. Who? Like the Tom Holland? Spider-Man? Could you come up with a better topic to generate talk? Politics and religion lie to you with a goal with no intelligence, experience, or validity. Let's see. Are you talking about me or other people in the chat? I don't know. If you don't like the topic that I'm talking about, that's completely fine. But my question then becomes, why are you here? Right? Like, do you imagine if I don't fucking know. Let me come up with somebody really quickly. Imagine if Dean Withers was talking about politics on his stream. He said, "Oh, why don't you talk about something else, man? Why don't you just talk about something else? Like when you can just scroll the fuck away and find somebody in a niche, right?" So yeah, I this is my niche. This is what I feel the most important to talk about. If you don't like it, that's completely fine. But there's just no reason for you to be here at that point. Where does your passion stem from to go on live and discuss yourself with your newfound beliefs? My passion comes from the fact that I, as a non believer, as well as other non believers, and gay people and trans people, among other groups, get threatened day in, day out by Christians for simply not believing in their book or living a lifestyle they find unsatisfactory. Um, it comes from the fact that this religion is being used to um, put people in scientific danger for different reasons, to justify like the limiting of reproductive care for people, which is going to lead to more death, more accidents, justify like you know like anti-vax rhetoric, which is going to lead to more death, more suffering, and all sorts of other completely dangerous things. And so making people at least critically think about why they believe the things they do is probably going to help them see their religion from a different light. You get me? So that's why I talk about it. That's where my passion comes from. Manny Plays, thank you for the 99-cent super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the stream and buying me so many Zuzus and so many Wham Whams and so much Whoop Chicken that I'll be full to bursting. But yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're very well spoken. I have to admit that.
That feels weird hearing that from TTS, like in that accent. But anyway, Xavier, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. I do sincerely appreciate it. I can do better, right? So but I appreciate the compliment.
Christ is a lie told for access to money and kids.
Dion, thank you for the $2 super chat. Christ is a lie told to access to money and kids. I would tend to agree. Yeah, I would agree with the lie part. I'd agree with the money part. You know, fuck it. I agree with the kids part too. I think the fact that a lot of Catholic churches need like insurance for inevitable sexual assault cases is gonna kind of be proof for that. But even outside of that, like the religion dies if we don't spread this to people who are too young and too uneducated about the world to figure out how things actually work. So I'd say I wholeheartedly agree. Thank you for the $2 super chat again. Also, Xavier, thank you again for the $1.99 super chat. I'll sincerely appreciate the compliment. And also, Manny Plays, thank you for the 99-cent super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you. Ready to get out of the simulation. Didn't have to be here in the first place. Although it's a rough one to be in some days for sure. God dang it. Why am I not seeing? I imagine this question has been asked so many times and I just keep missing it, but I don't want to assume somebody asked it and just, instead just wait for me to actually see when somebody asks it. Have you ever heard of the LDS Church? I have. Yeah, the Mormons. Yeah, heard of them. Heard of their beliefs. I'm going to be reading the Book of Mormon in like shortly. Like I'm probably going to start it like later this month or next month, but just for education's sake. But yeah, there's I don't have positive opinions about the Mormon religion. Is this like a debate stream or what? No, those are going to be on the 8th day of the week. As opposed to theism, what atheist philosophies do you live your life by? I don't know, there's a few. I would say I'm a phenomenal conservatist. I would say I'm an existentialist. But I guess neither of those have to really do with like atheism versus theism, right? So I guess it just depends on what questions being asked or answered, Do you think this is a simulation or like we're all pawns in someone's world? Neither. Neither. It's possible, sure. Like it's a lot of different unverifiable things are possible for sure, but I just don't give any credence to them. And simulation theory is just one of those things I don't give any credence to. Do you still consider yourself to be searching for the truth? Oh yeah, absolutely. That's gonna be a lifelong thing that I do. Hopefully something I do on this channel as the years go by too. One away from bingo again. There's like one really, really super duper common question. Really super duper common question. It's so common. It's so common. And I'm not seeing anybody ask it. I would get bingo so quickly if somebody just asked a question. Opinion on free will? Oh, somebody said free will. That's not the It's not the question I'm looking for, but it gets me closer. So now I almost have bingo three ways. Anyway, what do I think about free will? I'm kind of a compatibilist about it. I think we are the source of our actions for sure, but I think every action that we make is kind of confined to some prior cause of some sort. So, um, basically, a determinist, but who acknowledges agency, if that makes any sense to you. Uh, are you okay with guns and why? I'm generally, yeah, I'm okay with guns. I got one, but I think there should be more stringent rules on who can have one and who can't have one. But ultimately, yeah, I'd say I'm cool with it. Defend yourself, defend your home. Yeah, I'm two way for sure. If irrationality exists in math and math is said to explain everything, why can't we infer that there might be a person who we can't reason out that requires faith only, something that is irrational? What in hell is even that question? If irrationality exists in math, does it really? Isn't math just like a rule that we use to deter, um, that we use to for numerical values, and not just like something we're appealing to? So to say that it exists in math, I guess like kind of takes an idealist stance about it that I don't really jive with, but I'll keep reading. And math is said to explain everything. Is math claimed to explain everything? Because if so, I haven't heard that. Okay, heard that. You know what? Fuck it. 0 for 2. The rest of the question falls apart if you're 0 for 2 on the first 2 points. Pi is a rational infinity. I mean, the number itself isn't an irrational number. It doesn't have an I value. It just has an infinite set of an infinite amount of numerical values in the decimals place. How do you start math with no? Oh, you're talking to somebody else.
Is God of War a game you would play?
Any play
Thoughtful face emoji.
thoughtful face emoji. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. I've played God of War 3 a bit and I kind of enjoyed it, but the ones in the north more Norse, I'm so used to saying the word north on my job. Anyway, the Norse pantheon, I mean, they look okay. The story looks fire. I don't know if it'll be something I'm like into though. I'm more so into like shooters and puzzle games. Story games are, they're great for accomplishments and like that feeling of that little dopamine rush. But they don't tend to be the kind of games I'm into. But yeah, hope that answers the question. Thank you again for the $1.99 super chat. I appreciate it. Infinite decimals is irrational. You're thinking of imaginary numbers. Oh yeah, you're right about imaginary numbers with the I value. I wouldn't say it's irrational though, because it's descriptive of a real value, right? So I don't know. Math is spaceships and measurement, probability, patterns, logic. Math, logic. I don't know, dude. I think we're just kind of blending absolutes here or universals. Destiny 2. I haven't played Destiny, but it looks good. What's the purpose of life? Is that on here? God damn, why'd you put that in such a weird way? Anyway, what's the purpose of life? I don't think there's an objective purpose to life. I think it's up to you as an individual to figure out what the purpose of your life is. I'd say that, like, if I had to analogize it, I would say that your life is a plane and you are the pilot and you decide where it goes. So I don't think it's up to me or a god or anybody else to tell you what the purpose of your life is unless you decide that that's what you want for your life. But objectively, I don't think there's such a thing. Just because you don't believe in God doesn't mean you don't have a purpose. I mean, doesn't mean you don't have a purpose. I believe it's whatever you want it to be. Exactly. Basically. Create your world, purpose, and a mission. There you go. Numbers with non-terminating decimal values fall into the purview of irrational numbers. It's like a dumb little thing, hardly relevant to this whole discussion. You know what? Fair. I'll roll over on it then. Fuck it. Why not? Yeah. Just sure. Yeah. It is irrelevant. So fuck it. What is the purpose of life then? It's the same as no God equals no purpose. I mean, it's not necessarily their implication, so I'm gonna wait until they imply it before I put that as get that. And funny enough, even if they were to say that there was no God, no purpose, it still wouldn't give me the bingo. I feel like somebody's asked the question I'm looking for like at least 10 times and just haven't looked at it. How old were you when you decided you were an atheist? I was 19 years old when I figured out that I no longer believed in God. Explain DMT, a natural substance that's found in plants and animals. That's really all it is. It's a 5-HT2A receptor antagonist, I want to say. So a classical hallucinogenic or psychedelic, but yeah, it's just a naturally occurring substance.
Explaining why DMT made me not an atheist.
Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Explain why DMT made you not an atheist. I couldn't tell you, man. I think that because I've done DMT once, and seeing the way things blend into each other, the machine elves or whatever it is you see when you're knocked out on it, it's a powerful experience. I can grant that for sure, but it could probably lead you to a conclusion that you are peeking behind a veil of some sort. I mean, psychedelics definitely did that with me in some ways, but I don't know, just came to a different conclusion after your experience than I did, and that's fine. So I have no reason to think that doing that psychedelic substances are necessarily like a key to some unknown, but yet tangible and true reality. So if that answers your question, thank you again for the $1.99 super chat. How something come out of nothing? I already got that one, I think. Yeah, I do. How did cavemen figure out that certain plants make you high? I feel the same way that they figured out which mushrooms were dangerous, right? If you're limited in thinking of the massive universe, can you still be an atheist? Of course you can be, right? If you accept reality for what it is and hold out reservations for things that don't have any evidence for them, then absolutely you can be an atheist. It's just, you don't have to be omnipotent to say that something that sounds intuitively absurd and at worst, and that is unsubstantiated at best, to say that it's not something that you give yourself over to. You were never a Christian. Whatever you got to tell yourself, man. Why won't you repent? I don't believe in God. Why would I repent? The evidence that God exists is overwhelming. If that were the case, then it wouldn't be a matter of personal belief. Somebody would have gotten a Nobel Prize for it now. Do I believe in the power of voodoo and black magic? I do not. Not personally. Sorry for spamming, but what religion would you delete or just stop? The answer I have probably would be consider hate speech, so I'm not gonna say it, but I'll give you a hint. Um, I'll give you a hint. What's a good hint? Damn it, what's a good hint? What's a good hint? It's like it's gonna be. I want to make it apparent, but also not. Damn, dude, I am just over the moon and stars trying to think of a hint. I can't think of one. I don't know if y'all realize, I'm pretty sure we're saying the same stuff on loop. I agree that what he's saying, but this is a loop for sure. If you think this is a loop, I don't know what to tell you at that point. If I'm answering something over and over again, it's because I'm getting the same question over and over again. So, whatever you say, dude. You can just say it's Scientology. As bad as Scientology is, there's not way too many of them for me to think that it's doing, some sort of irreparable harm to the world at large. What's your opinion on the outcome of the last election? Very negative. I have a very negative opinion about the outcome of the last election. Islamophobe? What the fuck, dude? No, never me. I do believe that something created life and just let life go chaotic. Or you're like a deist of some sort? For math, you have to start from somewhere, because how are you going to tell me 1 + 1 is 2 if I've never heard of math before? If you can define values, right? If you show how a value is defined and how it relates to the world around you, like showing somebody a single object and saying that this is one object and that's one is a number, and that if you take this object and another one of the same object and it counts as two or something, then yeah, it's pretty easy to explain. What is hate speech to an atheist? You have no basis for objective, universal, moral law, lawgiver. You know what? I think that's kind of pathetic that you got to run the tired ass moral argument. I mean, the argument's tired, but it's like, trying to lead into the moral argument for me saying that like disparaging one particular religion would be considered hate speech as far as YouTube is concerned. It's just that's pathetic at that point, right? Like, I'm just gonna be obtuse to what he claims hate speech might be considered as, just for the sake of trying to run a moral argument. Like, come on, dude, we can do better than that. While you only answer the combative question when I shared info that value greater or less, what read the more combative question? I don't fucking know which question to read, man. At this point, it's kind of getting to me a little bit, right? It's like, if you see the chat, if you see it, and you see so many people in here, why are you not at least assuming that I might not be paying attention to one particular person over the 91 people in here and the hundreds of people that have been in here so far? Right? Like, no, I'm not intentionally choosing to read the more combative question or whatever the fuck. I'm simply trying to do my best. Thoughts on Anton LaVey? I got positive and negative thoughts about him, but I'd say Satanists are chill, and Satanism as a religion's like doing pretty decent things. I don't know if he's the one that started the Temple of Satan, but yeah, they're doing some pretty good things out there for like trying to keep separation of church and state. Yeah, that's great stuff. Do I believe Marco evolution? Who's Marco? Is it just me or when I get LDS ads? LDS ads are super annoying. Yeah, I hate them too. There's like this one though where there's just like this woman. It's like, hi there, can I talk? I don't. Can I talk to you about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ or something like that? She's kind of cute, so I don't mind it for those 5 seconds before I skip it. If God revealed himself to you, would you still be an atheist? No, I would not. Math fellatio might be my new favorite phrase. Hell yeah. Thoughts on Jews? I don't have an opinion one way or the other about practitioners of Judaism. I just think that what they follow is false, right? Do you believe that there's a whole outcome after death? I know this question is fucking common, but it's a boring person. I don't fucking know what the. I know you're fine. You're good. It's a common question, but you might not have been here for the few times I answered it. But to answer it, I just don't think there's anything after death. I think imagine what you experienced on February 2nd, 1901. The answer is nothing because you weren't born yet. I think it's just like that, but all over again after you die. I don't think you experienced anything before you were born because your brain and the thing that you have to use to have a conscious experience didn't exist yet physically. And I think after you die, that brain stops working. So it's like that experience all over again. Do I believe Jews is both a race and religion? I've heard that it's an ethno religion, at least the more orthodox way that it's practiced. I could be wrong about that, but I've heard that from quite a few Jewish people. Are you a nihilist? I'm not a nihilist. I'm an existentialist. I think that while I do agree with nihilists that nothing objectively matters, I don't think that deprives you as the human or the agent of the ability to figure out a purpose for your own life, right? Judaism, while false, their people are super chill. They throw the best parties and the food's always kicking. I've never been to a mitzvah or anything like that, but from what I've seen, yeah, they know how to party for sure. As I don't know too many of them in real life. I know a few online, and they're pretty chill. I've only get, I'd say, like maybe I've had less than 20 of them ever try to proselytize to me, so I can at least appreciate that, right? Because they want you to be really, really, really sure before you convert over, so they don't just go around telling random people to convert to their shit, right? What do you think about other historical texts outside the Bible that claims the miracle of Christ? If you're talking about like, I don't know, it depends on what you're talking about at that point. Because I've read the Annals from Tacitus, I've read the Testimonium Flavianum, even the forged parts from Josephus. I've read the Epistulae from Pliny the Younger, and they either don't talk about Jesus as a person or just talk about like what people believed at the time. The parts of the TF that reference the resurrection are widely believed by scholars to be a post Josephus forgery by Christians, basically, that was added to it. So yeah, no. Not much on that. Do I believe evolution? I acknowledge evolution. There's more than enough evidence for it. Agnostic, I am agnostic. Yeah, I'm an agnostic atheist. I don't know if there is a God, period, but I don't think that's such a thing is knowable. I just until there's some evidence for it, I'm going to say that such a thing doesn't exist. Jason Sturman wants God to come inside of your head. Ooh, ooh. I might not do the prayer tonight. Plus, this might be a shorter stream altogether. Also, what's up, the guy? How you doing today? I saw you earlier in the troll stream, but yeah, I think this might be a shorter one anyway. I want to wake up in time for Masters. Red or blue? I'm more into not red, blue. Blue was my favorite color for a while until I got orange pilled. Agnostic atheism is the only honest position to take. To be completely honest, I'd agree. At least agnostic, right? If you're going to have a religious belief of any sort, while I think it's going to be less, I think it's going to be more ontologically complex, and then by extension, unlikely. I would at the very least prefer if we are honest about the fact that we don't know shit. Personally, I don't want to get up for church at 7 a.m. on a Sunday. It sucked. It sucked, but I was happy to do it back in like the later years of me being a Christian. Yeah, proof math comes from God because of the proof of God. Yeah, proof math comes from God because of the proof of God. Isn't math coming from God the proof of God? Or are you just being circular? And before you present it, why have you not gotten a Nobel Prize for it yet? Do you read different holy books trying to find proof of a God? I don't read different holy books trying to find proof of them. I read different holy books to try to get more religious context of like the evolution of religion over the years, and also like to understand more about the people that try to proselytize to me a little bit. I've read the Quran once. I've read the Bible twice. I'm going to read the Book of Mormon next. I'm going to read some Gitas and some Vedas afterward. After that, I don't know who's to say. How did non-life become life? Abiogenesis. But if we want to go off of observation being the only standard that we accept, then I only observe life as being organisms. And if you want to argue that our life comes from what we observe to be life, you'd have to argue that God's an organism. Life being distinct from non-life is completely coincidental. Fundamentally speaking, there's not meaningful difference. Only higher levels of consideration as there a difference. Exactly. When you really, really, really boil it down, like biology is just an advanced form of chemistry. Subscribe. We need a bingo card on the video feed. I gotta figure out how to do one. I don't want to like flashbang people though. But thank you for subscribing. I do appreciate you being here. Book of Enoch. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to get to it. If you were a Mormon, what planet would you claim? Probably the one where it rains glass. I think that'll be pretty metal. So do you not believe it's possible we were created at all, like something made us? I think it's possible, but I have no reason to think that that's the case, right? Especially if the thing that created us is efficient or perfect or benevolent, I don't see why it would create us with the ability to get appendicitis, right? Just be feelings of anxiety, anguish. You mind rephrasing that? I convinced my dad that God doesn't exist, shattered his world for a few years. Now he's the happiest dude ever. Yeah. Hell yeah. Unironically doing God's work out here. Yeah. Get him out of that. Skadoosh. His religion. No, but also welcome in, Powder. But before you ask, I'm not doing a twerking stream, man. I'm sorry, it's not happening. Maybe like 1 million subscribers. I feel like if I make just a bunch of different goals for 1 million subs, like if I actually hit it, then I don't know, I'd really embarrass myself. How do you feel about the Nuremberg trials and how they came to judge the Nazis? I don't think they were harsh enough, but I think they deserve to be judged. I'll go that far. It wouldn't do that though. People would still deny God. What are you talking about? You should do call-ins for actual debates, my guy. I used to do that on TikTok. I used to let up guests, and they were either, for the most part, I've met some lovely Christians doing this, but they were either boring as fuck or just complete and total smarmy, dishonest assholes. So until we can figure out who's who and who's capable of actually conceding a point when they're wrong, then I'm not doing debates. And plus, when it comes to debate, I don't give a shit about trying to make myself look good, trying to make anybody else look bad. I care about who's right, who's wrong, who can prove who's right, and who can prove who's wrong. If I came to a point where I spoke out of term, then I would concede that I spoke out of term or believe in something false. I would expect the same of my opponents, but that's very, very, very rare to get. So um, maybe when I get a little bit more traction with the channel, I'll start doing like here and there debates just for the fuck of it. Or if like the formal variety, I might record those off stream or something with somebody. But as far as just on stream, have people grandstand and bloviate and smarm and lie and be giant pieces of shit. Yeah, no, thank you. I'm good on that. You can change the bingo card to be darker. I was gonna make a really, really, really bad joke. Yeah, we can do that. Not now though, but yeah, we can do that. Let's see what we got here. The seasons on Earth is perfect. People freeze to death. What's perfect about that? I'd be down to see a debate with your mods. I think we agree on a lot, so I don't know how fun that would be. Gotcha, because it feels like you're just asserting things here. No offense. When I keep ask people to tell me the things that I'm asserting, nobody seems to want to tell me what I'm asserting. So just I asked somebody earlier. He said I made at least 4 incorrect claims while he was here, and then I said, okay, elaborate which claims that I make that were incorrect, and then it just scrolled away and didn't actually say anything about what I said that was wrong. So yeah, just if you think I'm just asserting things without evidence, I have no grounding for it, by all means tell me. If not, maybe you learn the difference between I don't like what you have to say versus what you say is false. How's the food chain perfect? It's total chaos. Yeah, there have been literal species that have been eaten to death, out of existence. Perfect, not happening. Do you think meditation is essential? I wouldn't say essential. I'd say it's beneficial though, for sure. Where do we see non-life to life? I'll do you one better because I want to show you that you don't even believe in the standards that you're trying to hold me to. Where do we see a God create the universe? I'm all ears. Because if we just want to go off of observation as the only acceptable evidence, then it's going to destroy all of religion in one fell swoop. Even the earliest Muslims were 1,500 years ago. The earliest Christians 2,000 years ago. The earliest Jews 6,000 years ago. So, yeah, no. If it's one perfect 10-ball year, how will rainwater the flowers and trees? If I'm in heaven, it wouldn't matter. Right? That's some Pride Month in that community. I have no positive or negative opinions about the community because I just don't care, honestly. Right? Somebody and who they're attracted to and who they have sex with is none of my business. Even if it was, they're not hurting anybody by being with other consenting adult humans. So I couldn't give a shit. As long as straight or gay or bi or whoever people are with consensual people and healthy dynamics, and a person's an adult or a similarly aged person, then I couldn't care less. Really wish I could. I just can't make myself. What are your thoughts on the concept of miracles? I don't believe in miracles. I believe that there are things that are unlikely to happen or improbable to happen. But if they're possible to happen, I think they're going to happen, right? Like, for instance, I don't think it's a miracle that any one random person wins the Powerball jackpot because 1 in 292 million isn't impossible. It's improbable, sure, but it's still possible. So I wouldn't call that a miracle. I would just say that's an actualization of an improbability. Also, do I believe in souls? I don't personally believe in souls, no. Respect you for wanting to know the truth, but there's only one truth, bro, heaven or hell. If that were true, then there wouldn't be 4,000 different religions. I think there's even more than that. It's got to be like 10,000, right? I'm pulling the number 4,000, 10,000. I'm pulling thousands from everywhere. But yeah, no, if heaven or hell were just the one truth, then there wouldn't be so many thousands of religions. So I'm inclined to call cap on that. Potential energy is still, and it stays that way until you need something to make it kinetic energy, and that's a rule skeptic. How did that happen? I mean, we don't know if these laws of physics applied to the way that the universe was pre-expansion. So, just to claim that these laws are going to be universal, And just to get to something that doesn't have to abide by these laws is going to be scientifically jumping the gun at best and special pleading fallacy at worst. Lifelong Detroit Lions fan. If they win the Super Bowl in my lifetime, I might consider the existence of a god. I'm rooting for my Lions too. I was born in Detroit. I've been up since 5 a.m. Been running on 3 hours of sleep, so I'm gonna go. Glad the streams are doing better, man. They're doing better because of people like you. Go get some sleep. Have a good rest of your night. Appreciate you being here. Cell phones are miracles. It's technology we don't understand. There's a lot we don't understand. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist or didn't. Cell phones are definitionally not miracles. You're right. Just saying that something that you don't personally understand is now miraculous is quite literal. The quite literal thinking that have gotten people killed. So either work to understand the thing or acknowledge that it's not miraculous and that there are people that do understand the thing. I'm not one of those people. I don't know how a cell phone works. I couldn't break one apart and then put it back together. But that doesn't mean that it's not like some technology, engineering, and physics and other fields of science that perfectly explain why cell phones work. May George W. Bush bless you and God come inside you tonight, Papa Hugh. Yeah, may the holiest George W. Bush Jr. bless me tonight for sure. I'm personally a Christian, but enjoy your streams and care about your opinions. I appreciate that, Mike Evans. Thank you. I appreciate the candor and I appreciate the neutrality. I'll meet you halfway if you meet me halfway. That goes for everybody. I'm not saying God is real, but who didn't life turn into life? What the fuck even is that question? Who didn't life turn into life? You mind rephrasing that in a way that makes me not want to blow my goddamn brains out? We were threatened to go to hell as kids and started believing. Understandable. Yeah. To be completely fair, like the hell threats aren't the reason I stopped believing, but yeah, that's if that is the reason anybody like thought differently of it and moved away from it, I don't blame them one bit. Where did life come from? The best answer we have available is abiogenesis. Just quickly turned over an old leaf and became an atheist again in 8 hours. Oh yeah, yeah. I had a moment of getting cooked by, I don't know, Darth Dawkins or some shit, and then after I got off the stream, I snapped out of it. That totally wasn't just a satire stream, but yeah. What's up, Jamefu? How you doing today? Is good and evil a thing, or is it just I guess I'm subjective? I think they are ultimately subjective in that I don't think there's like an outside of your mind force of evil or force of good in any way. I think these are words that we use to describe unfavorable or favorable actions or scenarios. Were you baptized as a child? I was baptized when I was 15. How old was I in 2011? Yeah, 15. I was 15 when I got baptized. The inventor of phones had faith before everything new. Maybe the first normal person called a phone a miracle. Probably, but we came a long way since just tossing up scientific misunderstandings to miracles. Abiogenetic still doesn't explain where life originated. It quite literally does. It quite literally does. I would be inclined to believe you if you didn't spell it incorrectly, showing that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But saying that abiogenesis doesn't explain where life came from, it's like saying that physics don't explain where the universe came from or how it expanded, when that's quite literally the field of study. Doesn't it feel good to gaslight like Christians do? It didn't. No, it really didn't. There's a couple, I would have hoped that they would have been able to figure it out. Like that one, but honestly, that's kind of an issue with some atheists too, is that they're so intent on like trying to do a gotcha or trying to look good or trying to like, just trying to prove a point and be non-neutral with people that they don't see clear as day in their face. And I'm very clearly joking, but I'm not gonna lie, it did feel kind of good though. That was a lie. Yeah, it was feeling a little bit nice to gaslight some people. Calling the phone a miracle doesn't make it a miracle. Exactly. So God just popped into existence out of nowhere? Fantastic question, right? If God was real, everyone would be convinced, or at the very least, there would be some good evidence for it that makes it fringe to not believe in God, right? Like, there's good evidence to show why 2 + 2 = 4, or why 2 × 2 = 4, or why 2 to the power of 2 = 4, right? So it's fringe to believe otherwise. Conversely, if there was good enough evidence to for God, then there wouldn't be so many thousands of religions out there, right? You said the laws of physics isn't in play about my question on energy, so you're going to turn around and depend on your abiogenesis, you said. I said it's our best possible explanation so far. The Miller-Urey experiment, the proto-cell experiments are giving more and more and more credence to the model, right? It's not just random things I'm pulling out of my ass. It's not just saying that, oh, the laws of physics have to apply to the universe pre-expansion when that's just not the case, and claiming to know more than physicists. Um, so if the best possible hypothesis for life emerging from quote unquote I'm not gonna say non-life, that's some Cliff Nechtel shit, from unliving organic materials, um, inorganic materials, if that's the best hypothesis and there's more and more evidence coming out showing it to be the case, I'm gonna believe in it for sure. uh Once again, that's a fallacy. Once again, did you answer the question the first time? So would you say I don't know if there is a God? Yeah, I'm agnostic about it for sure. I don't believe there is the case. It's the case, but it's impossible to know. Center of thousands of religions has nothing to do with whether they're true or false. I'm saying there wouldn't be thousands of religions if there was objectively demonstrable evidence that one of them was true. That's not a fallacy. What's wrong with that line of thinking? If there's good evidence that 2 plus 2 equals 4, so there's not thousands of commonly accepted deviations from that idea, but there are when it comes to religious claims. So, just again, not liking what I have to say doesn't constitute me being fallacious, or it doesn't constitute me being incorrect necessarily. I like the new background. I do too. Yeah, it's got a more, I don't know, blue fits the channel a little bit better. I changed the profile picture everywhere too. You could say thousands of religions, but about 90% of them are based on Star Wars and the Big Lebowski. Fair, right? Do you have a lot of people close to you that are still Christian? Did that ever frustrate you? Yeah, most of the people near me are still Christian, but it doesn't frustrate me at all. If they want to proselytize, preach, it depends. Like, do they know I'm an atheist or not? Um, and if so, are they being respectful of that? Like the ones who aren't respectful of that and they know, I just don't talk to them too often. But the ones that don't know and they try to pray with me or preach or proselytize or whatever, it's whatever. Their heart's probably in the right place, right? So, yeah, it doesn't frustrate me at all. Miller-Ray experiment never made life. Okay, so you just don't know what the fuck you're talking about. We're hearing words that I say, and then here's how I know you're talking out your ass, right? It's called the Miller-Urey experiment. Um, so it's you are, hear me. Nobody say anything. URAY, right? So spelling it incorrectly and going off of what I said lets me know that you haven't actually looked into it yourself. And so if you haven't looked into it yourself, you can't say what they have or haven't found. They haven't made life. You're 100% correct, but it showed that with the conditions that the earth was in prior to humans being here, or prior to life being here, that the first compounds that can form the first organisms can be created naturally. So I don't know what to tell you. I'm not being passive aggressive. So, sorry if it comes off that way. You're forgiven, sure. Vaporizing. I'm gonna get you on out of here. I'm gonna get you on out of here. We are not listening. We are just repeating questions. We're on a loop. So if we're on a loop, if we're going in circles, then I'm not interested in like falling into your circle. So I'm gonna go ahead and get you on out of here. Have a good rest of your night. I appreciate you, but we have exhausted the entirety of our ability to converse back and forth and keep the conversation progressing. So, skadoosh, skadoosh, skadoosh. Are carbon-based life forms possible? Indeed, they are. Yeah, they were just protocell experiments coming out. I want to say August of last year, like less than a year ago. That shows that a little bit of silicone with the first what's the word I'm looking for, compounds that form the first organisms. Like, it's every single experiment coming out, at least from what I've seen, like the three I've read about extensively so far, shows that abiogenesis is a likely model. That's because humans are competitive, so who should win the World Cup? A French man says France, a German man says Germany, and a Spaniard says Spain. It's not about who should win the World Cup. It's about who will win the World Cup if there's evidence for it, right? Um, it's not about who might have the correct God. It's about who's got evidence for their God being real. The fact that it's so contentious among even the most well-meaning people shows that nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about, which is fair, but just don't claim that we do, right? For all we know, we're already dead. We just haven't noticed yet. Possibly, right? You could be a brain in a jar for all we know, right? But no, these things are things that have no evidence for them. Some of them have even good evidence against them, so they're just become less and less and less reasonable. What's their category of badness, evil, or wickedness? Why do we categorize things? I mean, favorable and unfavorable, and favorable to the end of, I don't know, it just depends on what you're talking about. Like, speaking about morals and moral convictions, we try to form our moral convictions based on what would allow for the progression of the species, like the protection of our offspring, the protection of each other from outside dangers and things like that. And so we're going to favor behaviors that allow us to cooperate, right? And so things that favor that we're going to consider good or categorize as good. Things that don't favor that we're going to categorize as bad. Hope that answers your question. Abiogenics, I don't know how to spell, is a field study, not a theory. It's a hypothesis, right? But again, the experiments coming out are giving more and more and more credence to the model being true. If you don't like what it has to say, if you've actually studied it, then you should, give your contention and peer review it and, submit it for peer review and then like shoot the whole entire hypothesis down if you can. I can imagine you're not going to do that. The fact that you can't even spell it correctly lets me know you haven't even studied it at all. And so you're just rejecting it in favor of a fairy tale just because it makes you feel better about it at night. So that's what I'm going to go with. Do you think we're all a brain in a vat? Absolutely not. Please pray for me to go to hell a lot with all the bad babies. Maybe on the next stream. Not on this one. I'm going to get off in like 18 minutes. Probably less than that. I'm only going to 2 hours today. Where do the laws of logic come from? The laws of logic are descriptions of the way that we parse the world around us, basically, right? If we properly define things or categorize things, then accepting that the thing that we categorize or define is the thing that we define is going to prove the law of identity to be correct, and we're going to describe that as the law of identity. The thing, I don't know, the fact that my inhaler is my inhaler shows that the law of identity is correct, and that's, what we're going to define it to be. The fact that my inhaler is not actually a computer shows that the law of non-contradiction is, my inhaler is not an inhaler shows that the law of non-contradiction is correct. And the law of, there's no like middle ground between my inhaler being an inhaler and not being an inhaler proves that the law of excluded middle is correct. So they're just descriptive of a language framework rather than like some outside thing that our minds are accessing or appealing to, right? Makes good point. You've been naming different experiments and not explaining how they answer my question. What's your question? How life came from non-life? At this point, no, matter of fact, I think you might actually be like 12 years old. I'm gonna get you on out of here. You can take care. I'm done. How does the hypothesis that shows how it's possible for living beings or for living organisms to first synthesize from non-living organisms show that life came from non-life? If you can't understand that the field of study is showing clear as day is answering the question, then I don't know what to fucking tell you, right? Like, just you want to stick to your Cliff Nectar arguments. You're probably in his fucking comment sections saying, "I'm 12 years old, but I love Jesus, amen." Right? If you want to stick with that, by all means, go for it. But just ignoring what I'm very clearly saying to you, get the fuck out of my stream at that point, right? Like, there's nowhere to go from there. I'm sorry. Skadoosh. Bye bye. Take care. Have a good rest of your night. Enjoy summer break. But asking the same question over and over and simply saying, I don't like the answer, so I'm going to keep asking it. Fuck off. Hawk. Tua. Hawk. Tua. Honk Tua. Are some things always bad? I think so, yeah. How do we call people, nature, music, or virtues beautiful without a great beauty? I'm not seeing how we have to appeal to some sort of out of our own mind beauty. Or firstly, we're describing God in like some weird ways tonight. Anybody notice that? Like, we're just kind of like, I feel like some people are just like trying to play linguistic freestyling to get to a God figure. Seems kind of weird. It's enough I gotta hear him being like the absolute mind, the uncaused cause, and all this shit. But now like great beauty, like we're veering into incoherent territory. But beside that point, I'm not seeing how the existence of things that we can subjectively define as beautiful or categorize as beautiful means that there has to be some sort of outside thing that dictates to us what beautiful is or not. Like, that makes no sense to me at all. Anyway, Richard Dawkins calls it coats. Calls what coats? The nature of God is whatever makes the most sense to me. The nature of God is whatever you can draw from the argument, right? You just make some sort of argument for God, and then whatever the conclusion is, just try to define it in some way to be a God, right? Cosmological argument. Oh, God is the uncaused cause. Contingency argument. God is the non-contingent existence. The what is it? What else? Moral argument. The moral lawgiver. Things are beautiful argument. The great beauty. Like, what the fuck are we doing at that point? By great beauty, I mean a definitive beautiful, like objective. Oh, I don't believe in like a definitive beautiful. I think that's kind of a. I don't think that's substantiated, right? Like, I don't know, the fact that some people can think that babies are beautiful, some people can think they're ugly and probably should get their money up, shows that beauty's subjective. You know, I got called gay recently for finding Rhea Ripley to be hot, but to me, she's one of the hottest women I've ever seen in my entire life. So, subjective. It's in the eye of the beholder, basically. So, objective beauty, I don't agree with that idea to begin with, but even if I did, like, I don't see why we should have to define a god figure, like a being that created everything, to fit that role, you know. Sorry if I was caustic, but it's been a long night. Every stream is a long night, though. I researched this and I'm genuinely stuck at the point of how passive traits become dominant traits. Just reference material if you're able, and I'll learn more. I couldn't reference anything to you. It's been a long time since I've like really looked into evolution and you know, gene theory and things like that. It's been a while. I refresh myself on some things, like some individual facts when they come up, but admittedly a lot of the things I'm learning about are, you know, maybe not outdated, but just I haven't refreshed myself in a while. So I do apologize, but and I'm not being sarcastic when I say this, but Google should be your friend on that one. Not to beat a dead horse, but yes, they're saying there are thousands of religions, therefore God doesn't exist. It's not an argument. I mean, it's not. This wasn't even. Are you even fucking listening at this point? Am I wasting my time with you? Or am I just wasting my time with you? Thousands of religion exist, therefore God doesn't exist. That's not even what I said. I said the fact that thousands of religions exist show that there is no good evidence that one of the gods exists. That's what I've been saying the whole time, right? If I understand it, listen to me. And here's the thing. Here's where we go veer into unacceptable territory. I understand wanting to have a point of contention, wanting to add to the discussion or feel like we're adding to the discussion in some way, wanting to get my attention in some way. I'm not knocking anybody for wanting social validation. I love that shit, obviously, right? But intentionally not listening to the fucking words I'm saying so that we can continue just typing words and feeling good about the fact that we're giving rebuttals, it's going to get you muted. I don't wall talk. If I wanted to talk to a wall, I would shut off my PC, walk 5 steps into my left, and just talk at the wall. At least it would echo back, right? Address the things I say. Don't address the things I don't say. I never once said God does not exist because there are thousands of religions. I said, and I'm going to say it one last time, and if you keep appealing to it, I'm going to know you're being dishonest, and that's what when you get out of my stream. But I'm said, the fact that there are thousands of religions that people believe in with all of their hearts shows that there's no good evidence for one of the religions being true. This would not be expected if there were good evidence that one of them were true. It would not happen. It simply would not happen. That's what I said. And now that I said it to you as clear as I possibly can, if you keep trying to appeal to or address something that I never fucking said, I'm going to mute you for the rest of the stream. Do you understand me? I can't stand repeating myself, but if I have to repeat myself, I would much rather repeat myself for the ends of making the conversation progress rather than just somebody straw manning and being insistent on fighting a straw man. I called you out on it twice. If you're insistent on continuing to fight the straw man, you can fight it outside my stream. So I don't know what to tell you at that point. Dude, chill. Bye-bye. Take care. Have a good rest of your night. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. You're an intellectually dishonest piece of shit. Get the fuck out of my stream. Tua. Skadoosh. Take care. Do I have literally any members in here? I don't think so. Skadoosh. Bye-bye. Take care. Not happening. Tried to have a good conversation. Tried to be good faith. You were intent on being bad faith. So, away we go. What about all the physical evidence found about the Bible? Like what, man? You've been listening. You didn't see the whole conversation. Argument was that doesn't matter because there's good evidence for scientific views. I'll wait for you to finish it up. Argument was that that doesn't matter because there's good evidence for scientific views, but there's still thousands of religions. What point were you arguing? What's natural selection? Natural selection is the tendency for species with traits that are inconducive to the continuation of the species dying out naturally. Right? If, like, for instance, if humans weren't intelligent and couldn't form tools and things and establish pro-social societies to better be able to ensure our survival, we would evolutionarily we would naturally select against our continued existence. If rams didn't have horns, if hamsters didn't reproduce so often and had so many babies at one time, or lobsters didn't, like prey species in general didn't have so many babies, or that tigers didn't have claws and fangs and shit, and then these species would have died out, so they would have been naturally selected against. See here, Shroud of Turin, all the archaeological sites, Noah's Ark. Shroud of Turin has been debunked so many times it's not even fucking funny. The Shroud of Turin is I'll just go directly with the Bible. John chapter. I could go over to carbon dating and keep repeating myself about like Clement the Seventh, but fuck it, I'll just go with the Bible. John chapter, I want to say 20 verses 6 and 7 says that Jesus' burial cloth was separate, like his head cloth was separate from his body cloth, and the Shroud of Turin depicts the entire body on one piece, showing that the Shroud of Turin is fake. The Pope at the time, Pope Clement the Seventh, said it was fake after being written to from the Archbishop of or like a bishop, I don't know which bishop, but a bishop brought it up, and the Pope at the time said, no, that's fake. Carbon dating shows it's fake. The pigment shows it's fake. The proportions of the body show it's fake. The features on the face show it's fake. The yeah, just it's fake, man. It's and the thing about the Shroud of Turin and why I really hate when people fight about it is that the Shroud of Turin being fake doesn't mean that the Christian God necessarily doesn't exist. It just means that the Shroud of Turin is fake. You get me? I'll never get it. I had to block somebody on TikTok for this. Like I kept bringing up the evidence and showing like, okay, this is why it's fake. And they just kept basically saying like, "Nuh, it's real." New study came out. I even brought up the new shit, the wide angle X-ray style scattering. I was like, yeah, read about it. Puts it at 2,000 years, but would have only worked if it was kept at a consistent temperature. It's been at 4 fires. And then after a while, I was just like, "Are you even listening to anything I say?" He was just like, "Yes, just send your evidence, but I'll know what's real." I had to block him. If we're just not listening, I don't know what to tell you. I try to listen. I try my best to. I don't always, but I try my best. So people that are insistent on not listening, they get blocked. Anyway, it was carbon dated last year, and it proves it comes from those times. It was not carbon dated last year. It was put under wide angle X-ray scattering, WAXS, which shows, roughly first century, but again, wide angle X-ray scattering only works with substances that are kept at a consistent temperature. You can look it up yourself if you don't believe me. The Shroud of Turin has been at 4 fires just as far as we can tell, so no, the wide angle X-ray scattering would be false. Or at least the results would be erroneous, I should say. Noah's Ark is pure fiction. Yeah, Noah's Ark too. The Ark story couldn't have happened for multiple reasons. Like, just addressing the quote-unquote archaeological evidence they brought up, the claims of Noah's Ark has been done by, like, they've been made by multiple people. So at least all but one of those motherfuckers got to be lying. But if you're talking about the Ron Wyatt documentary or whatever, Ron Wyatt was a known fraudster, a known con man, and a known hoaxer. So, no. Genesis is pure fiction. I agree. Thoughts on the new Fortnite season? I haven't played it, but I'll probably play like 1 or 2 games of it. I don't know if my computer can handle it right now. Shroud of Turin was created in the 13th century. Indeed, it was. Yeah, I'll never ever get why people like. I could see like maybe the first time you hear about the contentions about it, maybe, but if you continue to argue that it's real after realizing there's no scientific reason to believe that it's real, or not, like the real burial cloth of Jesus, there's no biblical reason to think it to be the case. There's no historical reason to think it's the case. At that point, like, where do we go from there? Yeah, your dog's poop carbon dated last week. Turns out dog poop exists. Well, shit. Father, no, we stop. Want to run duo zone for it? I don't play it enough though. My computer's bad. You can add me if you want to. It'll probably be like weeks before I add you back. I gotta get my shit fixed. So you believe science when it says the shroud is fake, but you don't believe science when they say the ark is real? They never said the ark is real either. There was rock formations. All they know is, I guess, rock formations or random unrelated petrified wood in the region, or other shit. No, the ark was the ark claims are confirmed false. When has the ark been proven to exist in the capacity described in the Bible? Literally never. Quite literally never. I'm not saying anything about stuff being real, but they are still examining it, just to be honest. I mean, the Shroud of Turin is once there's even a biblical reason to say that it's fake, then, I mean, you can argue that the history of it, like Pope Clement, that he just didn't know what he was talking about. You can argue that admittedly, this is hearsay, but beside the point, you could argue that the person who claimed that they made the shroud, that they were under false duress or something. You could argue that the Bible got it wrong. But if you're going to ignore overwhelming scientific evidence, I mean, there's not really much we can go from there. What's the word I'm looking for? The continued examination of the shroud is gratuitous. What church did you go to? I went to a string of Baptist churches until I was 16. And then after I left my last Baptist church, I got an apostolic church home until I was like 18. Some argue that factors like the 1532 fire could have skewed the dating results. It would have. I mean, it's been in 4 fires as far as we know, in addition to the one in 1532. So the WAXS, the waxes, couldn't have possibly, I wouldn't say couldn't have possibly, but most likely didn't give accurate results. Making up a story and then saying it really happened doesn't mean it really happened. Well, there you go, right? Chaos Crit. Oh, you're talking to somebody else. The Ark was just a guy on a raft with this cat and dog. We all know how gossip goes. Imagine over thousands of years. Yeah, that'd be fucking hilarious. Like, it went from just a normal dude with his dog to two of every animal on the planet, saving them from a flood that covered the entire planet with more water than the Earth has on it. Yeah, that would have been fucking hilarious. Do you live according to what you believe, or do you live according to what you lack in belief? Neither. Mix. Neither and both. I try not to dedicate my life to any one particular thing now, especially after the one thing I used to dedicate my life to being something I stopped believing in. But I don't know, mixture of both. If I'm going to dedicate myself to something, I'm going to try my best to get some evidence for it. Also, does that count? No, it doesn't count. So you believe in once saved, always saved? In the Baptist churches I used to go to, they were kind of up in the air about it. Like, there were like two of them that said yes. There were like three that said no. The apostolic one said yes. So I don't know. I'm up in the air. How come the Israelites spent 40 years walking 200 miles? Are they stupid? It took me just a couple hours to walk 11 miles like a week ago. So, you know, yeah, it definitely wouldn't have took me 40 years, but maybe they just had like shorter limbs or something back then. I don't know.
Did you watch that video I sent you?
Oblivion, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. I didn't watch it because like I thought the attachment was going to be something I could directly open and not something I would have to download myself, right? So I don't know if you, I would advise you don't do this either, but I'm not in the habit of like downloading random attachments that people send me in my email. But I did email you back about it and said if you had like, if it was uploaded somewhere, you could just give me a link to it instead and I'll watch it. But no, I didn't open the attachment because I'm not going to download random attachments to my computer. That would be a very not advisable, especially with my computer already being fucked up. Radiocarbon from 1988 isn't accurate. This is heavily debated in atheist and religious circles. And to be honest, so we don't fall into what C.S. Lewis calls chronological snobbery. How was it inaccurate? It was done by 3 different sources with 3 different parts of the shroud. So, and this might be what gets you like not just hidden. I mean, not just muted, but hidden from the channel altogether.
Yeah, 1 second.
All right, sounds good. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. But this might be what gets you hidden altogether from the channel because you come in every night. But if we are persistent, and I mean persistent, in arguing things that have been thoroughly combed through and thoroughly debunked, instead of just picking a new argument, then that shows very clear intellectual dishonesty, and those are among my least favorite people. Me, when I pick a direction to walk and I fail to stick to that direction because God decided to engage in turnaround shenanigans when I was sleeping. Yeah, let me just spin the planet around like a marble or something. What are I doing that? Got some chicken here. I haven't finished. Let's do a little chicken ASMR. Oh yeah, that's good stuff. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Here we go. That's enough chicken. Anyway. Because parts of history like the fire in the 16th century that might skew the accuracy of the radiocarbon from 1988. How do you think carbon dating works, and how do you think that fires would debunk it? Because it sounds like we have either a misunderstanding of how carbon dating works or a persistence in lying for something that's very clearly been debunked. Dumb question. I'm sorry, but what is it that led you to your decision on a different path to atheism? No, it's not a dumb question. It's a common one, but not dumb at all. So for me, I left my religion after about a year and a half of deconstruction. I just critically thought about why I believed the things that I used to believe in, and looked at the evidence for it being true or not, and found none of the evidence convincing. That's why I left. Just no good reason for me to continue believing in it. Had the same amount of evidence as every other thing that I acknowledge as non-existent, so had to leave. Give me that chicken. I got you. Come take a bite. Come on, eat. Eat. Well, I'm waving the chicken around my microphone. Y'all can't even see me do it. It's a. I keep doing like physical jokes as if y'all can see me right now. But anyway, did you have a favorite gospel song back when I was a Christian? Uh, Probably God Did It. I can't remember who made it. There are a lot of different covers of it, but everything that happened to me that is good, God did. If you can't tell, I've grown up in black churches, but that was a pretty big one. But just like Christian song in general, I wouldn't say there was like one in particular, but I listened to a lot of Red and Firefly.
Dr. Kenthoven Strayer, Reinhold Schlieder debate.
Oh, Jesus, Ken Hovind, of course. I'll watch it just for shits and giggles, and I'll tell you my thoughts. Not now, but you know, throughout the. Wait, how long is it? That's what she said. Give me a second. Let's see what we got here. Paste. 8 years ago. What's this? Jim Strader, Luther Roosbig, and Reinhold Schlader. Okay, let's save this to watch later. Yeah, Ken Hovind's a fucking clown, but I'm gonna watch it anyway, just for the sake of being complete with my thoughts and contentions about it. Anyway, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. I'll watch it later, and I'll email you my thoughts since I got your email. Unseasoned boiled chicken and a bowl of white rice. That sounds like the most struggliest of struggle meals I've ever heard of in my life. The chicken I got is naked fried and seasoned.
It's on YouTube. It's pretty powerful, but like 2 hours long.
Yeah, I gotta save to my watch later. I'll give it a watch over the coming days when I find the time to. But yeah, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you for supporting the stream. I do appreciate you. I gotta hit the hey, good convo. May God bless you and keep you. I don't want to be kept by God, but have a good rest of your night. Appreciate you being here. Is Kent still in prison? I don't know if he went to prison yet, but yeah, hopefully soon. Honestly, one of the least bearable human beings I've ever discovered. Almost as bad as Trump. It's pretty awful. It's pretty bad. Him and the rest of it's like unscientific ilk. Ray Comfort. Anybody like that? Yeah, terrible. Terrible. I didn't keep up with his whole prison story or whatever, so I couldn't tell you if he's like out of it or not. Got on a while ago, I think. Oh, okay, got you. Yeah, man. All he had to do, got him like Capone. Did you watch the Jubilee episode with Jordan Peterson, One Christian versus 20 Atheists? Oh, I did. Yeah, I fucking loved it too. Can't stand Jordan Peterson. It doesn't bode well for my honesty when I just say I can't stand all the Christians that people recommend me, but yeah, Jordan Peterson, he thinks it's like a revolutionary new debate tactic to like not actually define his position. Yeah, he got chewed up. Ian chewed him up. Parker chewed him up. Danny chewed him up too. What was that young lady's name? Zena, I want to say. By the way, she's fucking gorgeous, but beside the point. Yeah, she ate him up a little bit. Yeah, that was a fun one. Ray Comfort is fucking crazy. Jordan Peterson is a hack, dude. I used to have a lot more respect for him. Like, I was never been like a Trumper at all. I just want to preface with that. But there were a lot of, those like old from 2016 like college students destroyed with facts and logic sort of videos on YouTube back when conservatism was kind of hitting that new popular zeitgeist on YouTube and stuff. And back when like Milo Yiannopoulos was a thing and Ben Shapiro wasn't such a sellout. I used to watch those and find them at least like rhetorically funny. And JP was on a couple of those. Found them funny, but this new age like post hospitalization JP, I don't know if he got like damage or something, but yeah, he's not fun. Do I have? Oh wait, no, I don't have bingo yet. I'm not gonna get bingo either. Ah shit. Ah shit, man. Why didn't somebody just ask what an atheist is? At least in a way where I can see it, right?
Yeah, he went to jail for tax evasion.
Indeed, he did. Thank you for the $9.99 super chat. I like where this is going, but yeah, he went to jail for tax evasion. He was a yeah, just wasn't paying his taxes, lying about some things. Even though God says not to bear false witness, I guess he didn't tell him not to, bear false witness to the IRS about what he owed. But what can you do? Thank you for the $9.99 super chat. I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you. Ben Shapiro wasn't always a sellout. He was, but not as completely, totally like. How do I best say this? The grift hadn't started yet. I feel like there's a point when everybody, with every creator in I guess I'm speaking from bias by just saying like the right wing and Christian space, but in those spaces, like there's a point where you realize that they're just outright grifting. Like no matter what somebody says to them, they're going to continue denying it for the sake of like making sure that dollars keep rolling in. And it was before he got his own network and got to the Daily Wire when he was just still on what was it? God damn it, what network was he on, or like publication or website was he on before he got the Daily Wire? I can't remember, but yeah, before those days were still insufferable, but at the very least, like watching like his deadpan answers to people was kind of funny. Another great video I watched recently was Alex O'Connor talking with Rhett from Good Mythical Morning about how and why he became an atheist. I haven't seen that yet. It's in my watch later, but yeah, I'm a huge fan of Rhett McLaughlin and Link, obviously, and huge fan of Alex O'Connor. So that's gonna be that's probably gonna be very soul healing. Getting to watch that for sure. A lot of dumb people in the world. I'm one of them. Yeah, we're all out here just trying our best, honestly, though. So I can't judge people too much for being dumb, but I can judge them for being dishonest. Because I used to believe in some pretty. I guess I just use myself as an example. That might not be the most fair thing to do, but just using myself as an example, I used to believe in some pretty dumb shit, and I guess I was at the very least honest enough to say, okay, what I believe in is kind of stupid. So let me address that and figure out if there's any sort of like let me rectify this situation. And people seem persistent in being stupid and sticking with their stupidity, and I can't really stand that. Thou shalt pay taxes. Yeah, he disobeyed the 1099th commandment. See what I did there? What's the whole what is an atheist question about? Oh, so there's a bingo board, and nobody's asked me what an atheist is, at least from what I've seen. So I can't fill out what's an atheist and get bingo. Not gonna lie, your endurance is outstanding, my friend. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. There's a lot more that I want to do with this. I want to eventually go to. I want to see people in the face when I talk to them, and figure out why they believe the things that they do. I want to travel the world, highlight a lot of the different regional difference between, even umbrella religions like Islam and Christianity. There's a lot I need to do. There's a lot I want to do, I should say. So being able to talk at length and also try to meet people where they're at is gonna get me a lot further than just like shutting down. Especially considering that shutting down doesn't actually do anything for the channel metrically. Explain to me how anyone could take an Osteen seminar seriously and not be brain dead. Joel Osteen, if there is a hill, I hope he goes to it for at least like for somewhere between like 10 years and 20
So
years.
you believe in the Big Bang and evolution?
Oblivion, you didn't have to do that, dude. Thank you for the $49.99 super chat, dude. Thank you for the $50, man. To answer your question, though, yeah, I acknowledge both. There's good evidence for evolution, like the similarity of certain species' genes, like things like our very genetic data itself being fusion of different chromosomes and things like that. And there's good evidence for the Big Bang being that things like cosmic background microwave radiation and redshift. So yeah, I acknowledge both of them. They're evolutionary biology as well as physics has made leaps and bounds in peer review and evidence for these claims. So I have no reason to question them. But thank you so much for the $50 super chat, dude. That's huge. Thank you. I will maybe God's trying to speak to me. No, but I sincerely appreciate that. Seriously, thank you so much. I don't want a higher power watching the stuff I do, so no, I'm good without Big Brother in the sky. Me too. I'll pass on that every day of the week. Do you ever pray even though you don't believe? I don't pray anymore. No, at least not seriously. If you watch the stream long enough on a on a good day where I'm not two streams deep, then you might see me like do some shenanigans and tomfoolery with prayer. But as far as like real actual praying to something, I don't think anything's listening. So no, I don't pray. Is it possible to remember all the books? It's possible. I just don't. Right. Do you wish that there's a God? Not really. No, especially not a God that cares so much about people simply believing it to be real, so that they avoid punishment. I think that's will be pretty horrific. But I don't know. In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. I don't know. But for the most part, I'd say no. Red and Link are great people. Yeah, they're awesome. Love them both. Everyone knows Red is cooler than Link. I'm more of a Link fan. I think Link's funnier. I think Link's funnier. I think his constant food aversions are pretty funny. Yeah, I like it. I like a good Link. I like good Link. I like their friendship too. I wish I had a friendship that vulnerable and that lifelong and that at least looking from the outside in, that mutual. That would be pretty cool. A lot of my friends are recent. Oh, shoot.
Do you believe matter can create itself?
Oblivion, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. I'm so sorry. My YouTube crashed really quickly. Let's refresh. Okay, refresh over here. I'm so sorry. I'm going to answer that in a second. Let's pop out the chat again. Pop out chat and boom. Okay, here we go. Do I believe matter can create itself? I personally don't, but I think that the substance, whatever that may be, that condensed into matter after the universe expanded and starts to cool down, I think that stuff has always existed. And I think that too much of that stuff can't be in one place at one time, and so that's what causes the universe to expand. But if I had to take a guess at things, so I don't think matter started existing from a state of non-existence, or like the stuff that condensed into matter started existing from a previous state of non-existing. But if that answers your question at all. Keep going, you're going to pay for his monthly groceries. Yeah, that's going in the tank for sure. I really should drive my car more if I'm going to spend money on gas, right? But I don't drive too much. How often do you stream? I try to aim for like 5 nights a week. If I gain a lot more traction, start making more doing this and like multi-streaming and get everything fixed and get my housing situation more concrete, then I'm going to aim for 6 weekdays a week, like 6 mornings a week. But for now, it's like 5, like midnights a week, basically. How does something exist from a state of non-existence? I don't believe that to be the case. I think that the universe itself is just a thing that's always existed, right? He gave us choices, so we have to make the choice to believe. It's not a choice of whether or not you can just believe in something. You take in information, you figure out if it makes sense to you, and then you make a conclusion in your mind based off of that. You don't just arbitrarily choose like, okay, well, I'm going to start believing now, and then just like, and just start believing in this random thing when I don't think it to be the case. I can't start believing, even if I have free will or not, I can't start believing that my microphone is made out of cotton candy right now if I wanted to. Conversely, I'm thoroughly convinced that God doesn't exist, so I can't make myself believe in it without sufficient evidence. Atheists learn to rationalize, Christians learn to pray. That is poignant. Hell yeah, I'd say I agree with that. Prayer, while silly, is just a form of meditation. While it doesn't achieve the results you want, it's healthy to reflect in that way. You don't have to call it prayer. I think that's fair. I think it's fair, but it's not the version. I wouldn't say the version, but like that's only one of the versions of prayer that I was preached about growing up. What's the hardest question you've ever been asked since you started? I don't can't remember the hard questions. Hmm, I can't remember. That's unsatisfactory. I do apologize, but yeah, I can't remember. I get asked a lot of questions doing this that sometimes give me some pause, but I couldn't remember like one that really gave me some pause, at least in a long while. You can't stand on one side of the river and pray to magically appear on the other side. You have to get in and swim. Prayer can give you courage, though, even though it's false. Yeah, if you need it as like a placebo effect or like a cause to action, I mean, it works for you. That's completely fine. I just doesn't work for me in that regard. Oh shit, Caden. We're doing this. Oh, never mind. Hi, user on channel. Never mind. Never mind. I'm sorry. Silly me. Duh. Duh. Come back on another account. But before you come back on another account, Caden, just know it takes me about 2 seconds to hide you on the channel forever. Meanwhile, it takes you, I'd imagine a lot longer than that to make other accounts. So, tread with caution. Just finished feeding your kids. You've been meaning to ask, what do you think about humanism? You've been trying to apply that ideology to my life, and I notice I'm less stressed with people. I I think humanism is great. I think it's awesome. I don't know if I can necessarily call myself a humanist just because I don't think there's like any sort of to be really to be less word salady about it and be more blunt with it. Some motherfuckers just gotta go. Some people just gotta go. Right? Some people don't deserve life. Some people just don't need to be here, and that's not a very humanist way to think. So I don't know if I'm completely, totally humanistic about what I think about people in general, but that being said, yeah, I think it's a fantastic outlook. What's the funniest argument you've heard a theist give? I wouldn't say funniest, but probably the dumbest argument I get is that I have to first acknowledge that God exists in order to even like have the question of him existing or not. And I think that's fucking absurd, right? It's like, and I always bring up like me acknowledging that Superman exists as like a character or a fictional character or like a concept or something doesn't mean I think that Superman exists in order to dissect whether or not he exists. Unless they want to argue that God's just a concept, in which case, I mean, I agree, but it's just such an obtuse, dumb argument. I can't stand it anytime I get it. Humanistic, but also natural selection exists for a reason. Yeah, fair. Also, what's up, Jesse? Good to see you. How's your day going? Good night, guys. I have to wake up at 7 tomorrow to lift, and it's almost 3, so have a good night. Yeah, you go get some sleep, man. Take care. Have a good rest of your night. I'm on leave from work, so I can go all night if I wanted to. Speaking of going all night, I should probably call her. I already read that. Do you ever feel judged for being an atheist? Oh yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Judgment is pretty common. I get called awful things doing this. I get told awful things doing this. It just comes with the territory, but yeah, I get people judging me, judging the validity of my former beliefs, judging my current honesty, trying to pick apart everything about me. That's what part of the reason I don't take it too seriously unless somebody's like trying to be productive to the conversation at hand. Because if I were to believe every single criticism or judgment that I get from Christians doing this or any people of any religion doing this, then I would have to believe that I am worthy of death. I'd have to believe I'm the worst person ever. Right? I get like the Christian love I get doing this is overwhelming sometimes, but outside of this, I you can't really take it too seriously. You did once actually believe it, so they can't say you never did. Yeah, it's I know why people say that. It's a mixture of like wanting to antagonize and try to get under my skin while also making the religion one in their minds that's completely perfect and beyond reproach. So it's better to believe that something perfect can't be accepted and then left rather than believe that the religion's imperfect. So I get it. It's unacceptable still, but at the very least, I can say I understand why they choose to be such dicks about it. Funniest argument, I kind of said my mother refused to let me watch Jurassic Park because dino fossils were placed on Earth by Satan to trick humans into not believing. I've gotten that one a few times too. Yeah, that science is completely, totally unreliable. Even like apparent science that contradicts the Bible in some ways, it's just it's just like some grand trick or delusion. Yeah, it's kind of sad, but I've gotten that too. Uh, do you think it's better to be an atheist than to be religious? For me, being an atheist works better for my life. Even whether or not I believed genuinely that God exists or not, like just not having something always watching me, not having something that desires to punish everybody for not believing in the thing correctly. It just works better for me. It's better for my mental health. But that being said, your mileage may vary, so I can't judge anybody necessarily for believing what they're convinced of. I can just try to make them think about why they believe the things that they do. So, but for me, my answer is yeah. I think it's better for me.
I'm open-minded. It's interesting to try and understand your point of view. We can have opposite beliefs and coexist. Red heart emoji.
Red heart emoji. Yeah, thank you for the 4.99 super chat, Oblivion. I do appreciate the neutrality for sure. That's what I'm after. You know, while I don't know if there's anything that can make me ever want to accept your religion. I mean, you brought up Ken Hovens. I'm assuming you're a Christian, but to accept the Christian religion again, at least that's tangible and possible and likely to happen. Then and it doesn't mean we can't have a dialogue about it, you know, and figure out where each other is coming from. And so I do appreciate the neutrality on it. And thank you again for the 4.99 super chat. I appreciate it. My ears are still shrilling from that shrieking child, but aside I said I'm good. How was you? I'm doing. I'm definitely doing. Yeah, I'm absolutely doing. Um hopefully your ears get better. Are you like me? Do you believe that our Big Bang is one of many bangs that can occur through the universe's history? Yeah, I'm right there with you. Cyclical hypothesis like just makes the most sense to me personally, and I feel like our mere consciousness makes a linear timeline seem more intuitive when I just don't believe that's the case. And so that's you know that's but yeah I think it's a brute fact that the universe exists, and I think it's just I don't know why dark energy. I don't know if dark energy is the sole thing responsible, or you know even the primary thing responsible. Why it's making it retract. I mean expand and then contract over and over again. But who's to say, right? Kaden, hide user on channel. Hide user on channel. I'm gonna do an experiment really quickly. I'm gonna see if you come back, Kaden, on another account, and I'm just not gonna give you attention every time I hide you on the channel on a new account, and see how many times you could do it. But we can do this all day. You know, you being on summer break doesn't constitute you harassing me, though. Not gonna lie, as an atheist, I definitely felt the discrimination. They make it known. Yeah, they make it well known, dude. Yeah, it's like on the one hand, I put people first, and so I think bad people are going to be bad people regardless of their religion. But on the other hand, it gets hard sometimes to feel as if though they can be reached in that the general population of them can be reached. When I get like I shit you not, maybe half of them that I talk to on here being in some way just unacceptable, acting unacceptable, and then another half of that other half just trying to act like, oh, well, they're not of us. They're not actually Christians. God tells us to be kind to each other. They're not Christians. So trying to shirk responsibility instead of holding each other accountable. And then the other quarter of them, quarter, half of the half, that just ignores them altogether. So even though they're being awesome people. So I don't know. It doesn't bode well. But yeah, what can you do at that point? Look at who all the radical minds in the world, all religious. Religion has had some pretty unfortunate side effects on humanity. I would agree with you on that. Do you feel alone in the universe? I don't think we're alone in the universe. I just don't think that anything else that's out there is ever going to get to us, or could, even if it physically knew how to. Right? So I think that all the Roswell or UFO sightings or whatever, I think those are all fake and baloney and garbanzo beans. But that being said, I think that if abiogenesis can occur on one planet, then it can occur on some other planet. And with like the septillions and sextillions, probably octillions, nonillions, decillions, who the fuck knows how many planets out there, that it can happen on at least another one, right? One must wonder, has all this happened in exactly the same way in a previous cycle? Yeah, who's to say, right? It's bizarre to me that Americans face discrimination for being an atheist. Here in Europe, about 75% of us are either atheists or vaguely theists. A very small minority are actually practicing. Yeah, we y'all spread it over to the side of the planet, and we're still playing with the toy over here. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but what are you gonna do? It's kind of funny though, because like the country I plan to move to, if I like, get a lot more money in the bank, is even more Christian than America is. But yeah, it might rethink that at that point. Fork update. The fork is still here. I'm gonna tap it against the mic really quickly. Yep, still here, right on my desk. Khalil6, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate you. Throughout the Bible, God shows himself and intervenes with humans, so why not now? Yeah, fantastic, right? I couldn't see why, right? If he, especially if he claims that he's benevolent and also that there's some sort of like thing to save us from by us not knowing he exists. It's like, why not just do the thing, right? Just do the thing, man. So I'll never get it, but makes a lot more sense if it's all just made up bullshit. This Caden guy's obsessed. I think he's under the age of 18 and just bored. So, yeah. And that's another thing with Christianity. It empowers, I wouldn't say empowers parents, but like, this dude's, if he's assuming, with a name like Caden, he's definitely under 18, but, or, close to it. If that's not the most Gen Z name ever, I don't know what is. But, his parents raised him like this. Raised him to not understand what no means, not understand what harassment is, and to spread the gospel past the point of somebody's acceptance of it. And I think that's fucking disgusting. And that's part of the reason I do this. It's just like, it empowers people to raise their kids to be awful people. Like right now it starts off as just like making a YouTube accounts over and over to harass me. But it can end as something like him possibly not respecting somebody's consent when they rejected sexual advances, if you get where I'm going with that. And so I think that's kind of gross that anybody can raise their kid to not have values like understanding consent, understanding agency, understanding autonomy, even if it is to the point of spreading around their particular fairy tale. So you don't believe hell is real? I don't believe in hell. No, I think hell is fake. Do you think billions of believers and saints and martyrs have all been deceived? I do, actually. Yes, I do. I think that they have been told something false, basically. I think that a mass delusion doesn't constitute the delusion being any more true. It's sad that there's so much division amongst the people nowadays. It shouldn't matter your beliefs or political views. We should stand together. People's actions don't define who you are, in my honest opinion. I say yes and no. I think we should ultimately get to a point of cooperating with one another. But that being said, with some religious views and also with some political views, like it far outseeds like outlook and starts to get into very morality, right? I don't want to get super duper political on here, but take for instance, somebody figuring out for themselves whether or not they think it's acceptable to vote in somebody who was found liable for sexual assault and had to pay $5 million to their victim, and if they were liable to hypothetically, of course, elect that person as president, right? I think it's perfectly justifiable for people who don't think that's the case to. I don't think it's. I think it's acceptable for people who think that that's awful to not accept anybody who thought that that's acceptable, if that makes any sense. So, about some issues, yeah, I hate that religious beliefs and political beliefs are getting more so into extreme territory, but yeah, what can you do, right? When a loved one dies, do you ever instinctively feel like they're still out there somewhere? I don't. No, and that's part of the reason I grieve a lot harder than I used to. Because when I was still believing in God and was losing people, I'd believe like, okay, it's bad now, but I get to see him again eventually, at least maybe on Judgment Day or something. But now there's no that. So while I would prefer, obviously, that there's still they would still be around, or prefer that there's like somewhere that we can meet each other again. I believe in my heart of hearts that's not the case. So, you know, grief tears me up a lot worse now. I refuse to be friends with genocide supporters, and somehow those are painful now. Not painful, well, painful too, but plentiful nowadays. Yeah, unfortunately, man, it's if we found voting for a rapist to be acceptable, then you're just not somebody I want in my life. I just lost a friend of like 12 years after finding out he voted for that dude. But it's past the point of we disagree, and more so to the point of you found this acceptable, so you're not somebody I want around me. If you could ban one crime, no one can ever do that. Even if they try, what would you do? By the way, you have to do it to ban it. I have to do it to ban it. Oh, that changes my answer then, because I was gonna say like child rape, like that would have. We can do away with that, but I'm not about to sit here and essay a child to get rid of that. No, no, no. I just couldn't bring myself to. I couldn't do it. Um, Probably murder, and my victim would be a child rapist. Yes, that's fair. That's a cop out, but that's fair. Kaden, let's see what we got here. Report, because we're insisting on harassing me at this point. Okay, there we go. Hide user, boom. There we go. Lying in court is the only right answer. I mean, I do that for fun, though. Why you turn another leaf? What do you mean? Only reason I haven't flown off the handle on my family for the support of Trump is that I have to rely on them for help. Yeah, I get you. I get you. Keep your shelter and your safety first, and then worry about your the expression of your ideological differences after the fact. I tell people the same thing about expressing their religious beliefs too. Hear me out? All right, I'm hearing you out. My ears are open. Where does your basis of right and wrong come from? Typically, I try to go with what's the most empathetic thing to do. What would I most want to happen to me or not happen to me? What would I most want to avoid or gain from my actions, right? So I mean, it's not the only reason, but part of the reason I don't rape people is because I wouldn't want to be raped either, right? I don't want to be in a society where we rape each other and find such a thing acceptable. So that's going to be something I find repugnant every single day of the week. Same with CSA. So yeah, as typically empathy is what guides my sense of right or wrong, but I guess for individual issues, like it gets a little bit more nuanced than that. But in general, that's like the seed of the tree that the branches come from. Right and wrong are in fact a matter of opinion. Ultimately, I would agree. Yeah, ultimately, I would agree. I think that as little as we care about why someone should believe in certain like moral truths or not, eventually, like we are the agent figuring it out for ourselves. Uh, Hear me out. Like a foregoing object on. Oh man, I don't even know if I could do that. I couldn't harm a kid, even if it were for. I don't. It's just like Yeah, I couldn't do it. It'll save all the other kids, so you can argue like in some sick way it's altruistic, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. I couldn't live with myself. Hell no. Hell no, dude. I'm sorry. I just couldn't. I could never. Do you know what the transcendental argument is, aka tag? Some form of basically that logic comes from God, or there has to be like an absolute mind to ground absolute intelligibility or some shit. I think it's bullshit. I don't see why a being or a mind outside of ours is necessary to ground the fact that things are what they are. I think it's just arbitrarily it's making the problem, which is that logic can't be grounded axiomatically, and then like selling the solution as like some god. You know, if you don't believe me, look at what the you could just argue like pure absolute mind and be a deist, but notice how all of them try to bring you to Christianity or Islam as a result of it. Please elaborate on how you couldn't live with penetrating. Penetrating a rapist with a stick so it wouldn't happen again. I was meant like a kid. No, shit, dude. Um, no, you know what? Yeah, yeah. Would I change my answer? Yeah, no, yeah. Rape is pretty awful. I changed my answer. That's about as close. That would all automatically constitute like CSA two technically. Like that's a cop out, but you know, all what's the word I'm looking for? All sexual activity against children is going to be rape by default. So I mean, yeah, you know, yeah, fuck it. I'm changing my answer. I'll change my answer. Good point. Would you what if you could abolish CSA by punting a child? The child would not be adversely affected by this action. Oh yeah, absolutely. Somebody's got to pay for it. Um, you know, just one bout of physical trauma, and instead of just a psychological sexual trauma. Absolutely, I'd punt a kid like Charlie Brown tries to punt that football if it meant I could stop it. No, I'm fucking around, but yeah. Whole idea of the monotheistic God as a personal God, which is where you would get morality and consciousness. I'm not seeing how God is responsible for morality or consciousness. They're just going to be more. I wouldn't say more explainable necessarily, but I would say they would be more. They would. It would take less assumptions to ground them in something that's outside of that doesn't require a being that created everything. What a confusing time for me to join stream. We're having a discussion about like what crime would I abolish, and the way that I abolish it is by doing the crime myself. And for now, my answer is sexual assault. But yeah, I would probably stick a broom handle up a rapist. Yeah, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Fuck that guy. Tua. Living by rules isn't morality. Indeed, it isn't. You know, just this is kind of the what kind of I want to take it on face, but a lot of I'll be less cynical and just say that a lot of people are just trying to be debate bros about it and try to be intellectually like like trying to be smarmy about it and grandstand or whatever. But imagine thinking that morality has to boil down to just simply, oh, you don't have someone telling you what's right or wrong, therefore you can't ground it yourself. Like that's you think that's a little bit odd? Morality in an objective sense, I would say, should say, you think there could be objective morality without God. I think you could have moral truth and moral realism without a God. One very good argument I've heard for it recently is that for the very ends of having rational discourse about morality itself, then you have to first presuppose empathy and presuppose morality. So to even get to the point of talking about it, then you have to acknowledge the logical end that comes with doing moral actions or not allowing for deviations from moral truth. So I think that's a solid argument. A little bit less parsimonious and just like moral subjectivism, but I think it's going to do you better than just saying, I like God of certain book, therefore you get your morality from God of this book, right? Using the Christian God as a basis for morality should be ground for a prison sentence. Yeah. especially if you look at something like Deuteronomy 22 and 28 and 29. We evolved and created a society centered on a collective subjective morality. Right. That's why we consider it mental illness when somebody deviates from it. Not because they're like um, appealing to like they got their logic wrong, but because they don't feel empathy physically in a way that the rest of us are, and the way that we allow our the empathy to guide what we consider favorable and unfavorable for the survival of our species. Letting your morality be dictated to you, it's not a morality being objective, it's just adopting someone else's subjective morality. Yes, you're still making at the absolute best, the subjective decision to ascribe yourself to somebody else's arbitrary moral truths or not. So, yeah. Using Jesus as a ground for morality is basically what founded the morality you guys are using today. There's nothing that Jesus preached about in the Bible that couldn't be found prior to the Bible. I am so sorry to tell you. Um, you can't even argue for that as far as like the social ethics of the United States, because the very 10 words of the First Amendment of the the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States is, basically shows that we're not supposed to be a theocracy. So, nah, not happening. Do I have any more chicken on this? On this, yeah, I got a little bit more. Time for another chicken ASMR. Oh yeah. Mm. Mm. Oh man, so good. I was making chicken when I got ordered pizza. I didn't ask for the pizza though. Fuck it. Why am I talking with my mouth open? Disgusting. If Jesus is God, he would be unchangeable, which would make morality objective. Okay, I'll bite. If Jesus is God, was Jesus the one condoning rape of unmarried virgins in Deuteronomy 22? Right. Right. So, clear as day, Deuteronomy 22, 28, and 29. Okay for people to rape unmarried virgin women so long as they paid their father 50 shekels of silver and took her as their wife for the rest of his life. Was that a good action? I want to say no, personally. God thought this was a good action. Jesus is God, therefore Jesus thought this was a good action. Therefore, I don't get my morality from Jesus. It's about as simple as it gets. I need to look into that, but the God of the OT is Jesus. Oh, so Jesus condoned rape. Gotcha. I forgot to eat dinner because you were busy shopping. That is. I'm not gonna say what I want to say to that. I'm glad you're back.
When do you think we will find proof of evolution?
Oblivion, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. There is plenty upon plenty upon plenty of evidence for evolution. Fossil records. There's simply looking at our genes and chromosomes ourselves. Like, I forget which let me get my words right. Is it a chromosome? I think it's a chromosome. One of our chromosomes is the perfect fusion of the 2A and 2B chromosomes from chimpanzees, showing that we definitely evolved from them. We've even witnessed evolution in real time with bacteria species. I want to say with fruit flies too. It's something that we can observe, I guess, in a lab setting over many, many generations of things that reproduce very, very quickly, like bacteria do. So, there's mountains of evidence that evolution is at the very least true. So there's good meat on those bones already. The Kalam cosmological argument is essentially refuted at this point. Brent, oh, you're talking to somebody else. Deuteronomy 22, what verse? 28 and 29. I'll even read it for you. Give me a second. Microevolution's also been observed in real time, so why are we still arguing about evolution? Yeah, true. It's and I'm not even the thing about I don't even like the terms macro and microevolution because it makes it seem like there's some sort of modal difference between the mechanisms that cause organisms to evolve over a short period of time or a long period of time. So it's like, I don't know. I wouldn't even say that's the case. Ask a bacteria if the 15 generations that it took for it to show, maybe not 15, like let's say the 100 generations that it took to show traits is if that was macro micro, they probably say macro, but for us it'll be like, only a couple days, right? If that. I'm not sure how often bacteria reproduce, but I know it's obviously not long at all. But anyway, yeah, 28 and 29. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. I should have this bookmarked by now, but I'm just not on my shit. Oh wait, yeah, I do. I am on my shit. Wait, no, I'm not on my shit. This is another verse where he condones rape, 2 Samuel 12 and 11. But now let me look up the one I like going to. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. Deuteronomy 22, 28, and 29. If a man happens to meet a virgin who is not pledged to be married and he rapes her and they are discovered, he shall pay her father 50 shekels of silver. He must marry the young woman, for he has violated her. He can never divorce her as long as he lives. This is put into immediate context with the rest of Deuteronomy 22, where they're giving laws about sexual, what's the word I'm looking for? Ethics. I don't know. I can't think of a better word right now. If a man rapes somebody who's already married, then needs to be put to death. But rape somebody who's unmarried, then just got to pay her father and take her as his wife forever. She doesn't get any say in it. There's also like a weird blurb in there about proof of virginity being blood on the sheet, which only 43% of women bleed on their first time. So that's weird. A lot of innocent women died back in those days. So. The fact that I find all this morally repugnant when God is the one very clearly communicating that shows that I'm not getting my morality from God, at the very least. All right, back to it. Let's see here. Anything that begins to exist as a cause? Okay, sure. I'll even grant that premise. I disagree with premise 2 of the Kalam because I have no reason to believe that the universe began to exist, unless you were to misunderstand the Big Bang Theory. I'm calling it. Make sure to get a good night's rest, Unchained. I will make sure to. Have a good rest of your night, Linux. Appreciate you being here. He essentially violated his property, so it's insurance logic. Exactly. Yeah. No personhood there whatsoever. He doesn't believe that the universe popped into existence. He believes that it's always been, that it didn't have a beginning. Yeah, like the stuff, like the space and time that makes it up, it's always existed in some form. And that the laws of physics, as we understand them, as the post-expansion cool-down universe, cooled down version of the universe breaks down at the point of the expansion. But yeah, no, I don't grant premise 2. I'll go so far as to be generous and grant premise 1, but premise 2, and not so much.
That video, if you watch it, refutes all that about evolution and how inaccurate it is. I'm looking forward to your email response. Isn't Deuteronomy in the Old Testament?
Thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Yeah, I'll be proud to give you my response to it for sure. I can promise you that Kent Hovind, of all people, did not refute evolution. If he did, he would have, he would have got his work peer reviewed and it would have came back. But I'll show you how by actually listening to the exact claims that he makes and ripping them to shreds for you. But yeah, also it is in the Old Testament, but Jesus is God apparently, right? God condoned that in that verse, and according to Malachi 3:6 and other verses, God doesn't change. So this is something that God still condones and still considers acceptable. The idea of the Big Bang is that time, space, and matter came into existence. I'm going to prove you wrong really quickly. Give me a second. Give me a minute. Oh boy. Why is this never in fucking dark mode when I pull it up? Give me a minute. Give me a minute. But again, thank you so much for the $9.99 super chat. I don't know why we keep talking out of term on science, but man, what can you do? Display capture, unhide, boom. Okay. Let's someone try to put it to the center of the screen and it's like drag it. Misconceptions. Where the fuck is it? Oh, it's here. It's just up. Okay, got you. So, oh wait, no, over here. misconceptions. Um, in addition to the confusion about the nature of cosmic expansion, the Big Bang model itself is sometimes misunderstood. One of the common misconceptions about the Big Bang model is that it fully explains the origin of the universe.
I look forward to it. Smiley face emoji. Super interesting to hear your POV.
I'll make sure to be thorough with it. Thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat, Oblivion. I sincerely appreciate it. Yeah, we'll rip it to shreds and I will write you as much as I can about it. But one of the common misconceptions about the Big Bang is that it fully explains the origin of the universe. However, the Big Bang model does not describe how energy, time, and space were caused, but rather describes the emergence of the present universe from an ultra dense and high temperature initial state. The source is, let me go down to 149 really quickly. Here it is. Wait, probably scroll up for that. I don't know why they put it so low. There we go. Brief answers to cosmic questions. Universe Forum, Cambridge, Massachusetts, Harvard Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics, archive from the original on April 13th, 2016. You can look it up for yourself if you want to. But no, the Big Bang isn't claimed to be the point that space and time and matter started existing. That is a pastoral misunderstanding. That's an apologetics lie. And now that you know the truth, I would maybe either get another argument or just like maybe not repeat that argument. But yeah, here's your source. You can always pause the video if you want to, or you could just go to, you know, the Big Bang Wikipedia page, go to source 149, and it's right here, clear as day. Let's see here, transform. Frick, fit the screen. Okay, there we go. Boom. Anyway, back to it. Lambda cold dark matter model, the standard cosmological model, space-time and matter as we know them began at the Big Bang. Again, these aren't claimed to have started at the point of the Big Bang. Let me see, lambda cold dark matter. Let's look it up. Sure, why not? ACDM model. Why not? Mathematical model, cosmological constant. Challenges. Let's see. Mathematical model of the Big Bang Theory. 3 major components: the cosmological constant, the postulated cold dark matter, and ordinary matter. It is the current standard model of the Big Bang cosmology, simple model that provides a reasonable account of the existence and structure of cosmic microwave background, the large-scale structure and distribution of galaxy, the observed abundance of hydrogen, including deuterium, helium, and lithium, the accelerating expansion of the universe observed in light from distant galaxies and supernova, which is redshift, of course. Let's see what we got here. Sensitive components. Let me just look up. Let me just Control F time. Let's see if we get it here. Let's see, it's only 21 instances of time on this page. Space time. Let's see. Postulate that the lines of space time intersect only one point. Time along each can be synchronized. Behavior resembles expanding perfect fluid. All right, so that's not start of time. General relativity, the geometry of space time to be distribution of matter energy, so nope on that. Time dilation and light decay, talking about time dilation, doesn't say emergence of time. Space time, cosmic expansion history, expansion of the universe parameterized by dimensionless scale factor, with time counted from the birth of the universe defined relative to the present time, the usual convention in cosmology. Scale factor related to the observed redshift. Okay, so we're still talking about space time here, not time itself. Expansion is described by the time-dependent Hubble parameter. Time-dependent, meaning it would have still been around. Time derivative of the scale factor, derived from time, time-dependent. So expanding over time, upper limits at that time. Strong lensing time delay, which is expected with something expanding toward the speed of light. Dark matter over time. Late time, Planck Observatory, what's that? S8 tension, or however you pronounce that, which will dissolve over time, and 90% of the lifetime of the missing baryon problem is claimed to be resolved. Use observations of kinematics. Suniev-Seldovich effect, expanding more than 90% of the lifetime of the universe. Okay, let's talk about a separate issue. Okay, so I'm literally Control F the word time. on the page for this article, and nowhere does it say that time started at the point of the Big Bang. Are we lying? Are we just lying here? Or are we misunderstanding things? Fair enough, but our current physics confirm that physical time, space, and matter all came into being at the Big. No, it does not. I don't know why the fuck you keep insisting on telling. How are you going to say fair enough, but then continue to say the thing that you haven't substantiated yet? How the fuck does that happen? How does that happen? Where does that come from? How are you just gonna say, "Oh, fair enough," but I'm right, even though there's you show very clear as day how I'm wrong? Like, are we fucking joking? Have you heard about the awesome universe black hole theory that being every black hole is a separate universe, we ourselves inside of a black hole? Interesting shit. That would be kind of interesting. Would the black holes be higher dimensional? I mean, I might just get into sci-fi though. Physics confirm matter and energy can be neither created nor destroyed. Yeah, I mean basically. Yeah, so there's other stuff in there about, you know, certain systems and stuff, but for the most part, sure, yeah. If they can't be created or destroyed, then they had to have always existed in some form if they exist. It's a very not interesting, but very simple syllogism. Stephen Hawking, among others, described this by analogy, asking what happened before the Big Bang. It's like asking what's north of the North Pole. Time itself is believed to have started at this point. Again, this is not where the physics lead us. If you want to contend with the people that are actually doing the current physics and that aren't dead in the ground and in the dirt, then by all means go for it, but no leg to stand for. All right, I'm going to look up this literal exact sentence, and if I don't find any results for the sentence, I'm going to ban you. So I think that's completely fair. Let's see here. Let's see what we got here. ACDM model of cosmology, nasa.gov. The right stage of evolution of the universe to provide the context for discussing lambda CDM parameters. In this picture, the infinite universe is extremely hot, dense, nearly homogeneous mixture of photons and matter. Approximate amount of timeline, theoretical evolution, initial conditions, early plasma currently thought to be established in a period of rapid expansion on its inflation. Let me just control F the word time, and it comes up twice. Nope, 3 times. An approximate graphical timeline of the theoretical evolution of fluctuations. So that's not time began. An era sometimes referred to as the Dark Ages during this era. So that doesn't talk about time beginning. And also, universe continues to expand over time. The negative pressure associated with the cosmological constant increasingly dominates over opposing gravitational forces, and the expansion of the universe accelerates. That we can confirm with redshift. So from the quite literal source on the matter, no claims about time starting at the point of the Big Bang. So at that point, we're just going to get on out of here. Yeah, I'm going to get you on out of here. It was fun. It was nice seeing you for sure. But at this point, I feel like we're now at a point of like persistently appealing to non-science, which I just can't do. At least for not right now. I'm about to go to sleep soon. I'm just not in the mood. So have a good rest of your night. Skadoosh. It's a very good skadoosh. But, you know, if you want to carry this conversation on, you know, Linktree, all my stuff is right there. But, yeah, for now, skadoosh. How come this random video isn't front page international news of evolution being debunked? Funny how that works, right? I know intuitively from a couple of the shorter videos that Ken Hovind's a complete joke of a person, but I at the very least want to be thorough in my complete and total takedown of it. So thorough, in fact, I might make a video of it. As we know, them is still pulling an insane amount of weight. Yeah, exactly. The linear or seemingly linear nature of time as it is now. How it ties into the spatial expansion of the universe, things like that. It's, yeah, pulling a lot of weight, but didn't exist to now exist. It's just scientifically unfounded, and we're continuing to appeal to non-science here. So, I mean, there's just not much further we can get with that person. They'll be back next stream, though. It's fine. I'll take it, but yeah, if I constantly fact check over and over and see that there is still no consensus about the emergence of space and time from a state of non-existence, then I don't know what to say at that point. Matthias, it's not in the space for that. I'm so sorry, but yeah, we don't do that here. You know, you want to actually talk to me like a person instead of just like copy pasting Bible verses. I got to get off here soon anyway. You know what? Just to make myself feel better, I'm gonna mute you for the rest of the stream. But the rest of the stream is literally only like 3 more minutes. So skadoosh. Take care. But yeah, I got to get off of here soon. No prayer tonight. I'm so sorry. I kind of Christian myself out with earlier stream, like joking around and stuff. We'll be live again tomorrow, hopefully. You know, sorry, that's some really good chicken. I'll be live again tomorrow. Make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitch, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Kick Trovo, D Live, Nemo TV. I'm going to be streaming to all of those once I get my computer fixed. When I get my computer fixed. The one I tried to go to last time, their prices were exuberant. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. I was like, maybe I was like a common sucker or something, but you know, what is it like? At absolute best, like maybe $150, $200 for RAM. We're not charging the price of RAM for installation. I'm so sorry. That ain't happening. Ain't happening. We're not charging double what it takes to put in the fucking sticks and run diagnostics. Like, no, I'm not a sucker. But fuck that guy. So I'm gonna find a good computer repair salesman, somebody more reasonable, and yeah, we'll go from there. Start multi-streaming again. That'll be fun. I don't have to tell y'all. If there's only a few people here left, I don't have to tell y'all to follow my shit. You already follow what you want to follow, so that's completely fair. I'll see y'all later. Have a good one. I'm gonna go beat my dick. I'm gonna go beat my dick into oblivion. I'm gonna go beat it so hard. I'm gonna go make fucking cloud bread out of my dick. It's gonna get beaten so hard. I'm so sorry to say that, but it's the truth. So I'm just keeping you abreast of the situation. That's what's gonna happen the second I hit in stream.